Oh, they've both been hurt this time. Oh my goodness. Already. Oh my gosh. Glover Teixeira is the light heavyweight champion of the world.
He's missing a lot, though. He is missing a lot.
Oh! He put him down! That's it! Poirier beats Conor McGregor! Has done it! He put down! Stephen A. Smith, watch this fight! That's the best 155 pounder I've ever seen! Oliveira's gonna get through. Oh! Michael Chandler! Oh! Here's Michael Chandler! The first punch he threw. Oh, he gets the Chandler turn against the game! Oh my god, he dropped him! Oh, Chandler! Oh my god! Oh! Charles Oliveira, your champion! Holy smokes!
Holy smokes, and listen, we can't wait to get moving on this week's episode of The Fight Companion, UFC 270, and right now, as we start the show, we're 15 minutes before that pay-per-view main card kicks off, and we're going to be all over that chat, so Phoenix is saying this fight is solid.
Yeah.
I want to start out right now by saying Victor Henry showed up to fight against Raoni Barcelos, and in the first round, I had him winning. He almost had Barcelos out at the end of it.
This is why we don't use the word lock on this channel, because I almost did in question mark kicks, and Victor Henry comes out scorched earth and looks amazing, and this has been an absolutely phenomenal fight. I did not expect this at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an absolutely wild fight, and I mean, Henry's coming out here, putting together the combinations. Raoni Barcelos has been drawn into the brawl, and it's been absolute madness so far. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I mean, if these prelims are any indication, they've been absolutely wild. This main card should be a treat. I mean, Morales taking on Giles. You've got Stamann Nurmagomedov, and then, of course, Pereira and Fiallo, and then the two title fights up at the top. But, man, Victor Henry is having a coming-out party against a minus 500 favorite in Raoni Barcelos.
Yeah, it's been a really surprising performance, but a great one for Victor Henry. Like, this is the type of UFC debut you want to make. Win, lose, or draw. Just be memorable, and this is how you be memorable.
Raoni is coming out absolutely swinging
Just
here
a
right
man
now.
possessed. What a great fight so far. This has been phenomenal. This has probably been fight of the night so far.
Oh, yeah, and it has been great so far. I mean, plenty of finishes, but
Good combo by
Barcelos
Raoni.
starting to kind of get it together here in this one. I mean, listen, Michigonian crediting the flow, but
Thank you.
this round a little harder to score.
It has been, because Raoni, he's been hittable, but he's still been able to land some pretty good offense of his own. But again, this has been a great fight for Victor Henry making his debut, because we all know how good Raoni Barcelos is. So if you can have this type of fight with him, you're doing something right.
Yeah, I mean, Barcelos going for the takedown attempt. There's about 45 seconds left in this round. They're crediting Henry with a little bit more offense on
Wild
the
numbers.
feet. But, man, these are, like, the pace has been absolutely insane. They're throwing. The blue dash is hanging out, too.
And both guys seem fairly fresh for how grueling this fight's been. Like, they're still moving pretty well on the feet.
Yeah, I mean, Victor Henry, for a guy that has a nice jiu-jitsu base to him, I mean, we've seen it. He's a minus 275 favorite on the live odds. Wow.
Yeah, that's
Michigonian saying Henry minus 450 right now. Humble Sloth was on Henry to get the win.
Good call.
That's a great look right there.
What a great fight so far.
15 seconds left of the round. These guys are absolutely chucking it.
And there's a great chance that Victor Henry's up, 2 rounds to nothing? So Barcelos might need a finish.
Could be tied. It could be 2 rounds to nothing. But Barcelos, the sad thing is for him, we'll throw the numbers up there right now. The sad thing for him is when you're that kind of uncrowned underground king for the longest time and you're not fighting those live dogs, then you get up around 35, 34, I guess, 35, and you're in this division. It's one of those things. Maybe time passed them by.
Well, 34 to you and me at bantamweight is like 75. So the fact that he has been this competitive this sort of late into his career has been really impressive. But you're right. Like, I had compared this fight to Preston Parsons versus Dana Rodriguez. We all remember what happened in that fight. Dana Rodriguez marched him down, destroyed him, and it was kind of ridiculous in hindsight. So, I didn't think Victor Henry was going to show us very much, so I'm very impressed.
Big Omar is saying, what'd you think of Della's performance? Man, he did look solid. He looked great.
I would say he's been the most impressive prospect up until this point. Although Victor Henry is looking very good right now, what Della was able to do was insane.
Yeah, Della Maddalena with a great one over Pete Rodriguez. He was able to eat a few of those big-time power shots, too, which was really neat to see. But Blue Dash saying 2018 Henry. I've got it 1919, but I can understand a 2018 Henry, too. Like, I think that's probably the more likely of the outcomes, too.
One or the other, yeah. Very close fight, though.
All right, we get set for the third round. I mean, they've been absolutely hammering away. Chronicle MMA, what's the thought on the Frivola stoppage? I thought he knocked him down 6 times. Now, whether it was 4 or 5, I don't see why Beltran didn't hop in there. Chris is saying, where's the clock? Not really clocks for the prelim fights as we get the lead into the main card. But Chris, to answer your question, once we do get to the main card, you're going to see this view right here. We're going to get rid of the logo.
By Henry.
In the middle, you're going to get a timer out there, and then, we'll get on the move once we do hit that. But we'll just go over here, let those numbers pile up in our last prelim. But if anybody's wondering about buying the pay-per-view, this is one of those ones that gets you amped up for it anyway.
Well, here's the good news. Like, the fight's been pretty good so far, and they just keep on getting better as we go up the card, of course. But, like, co-main event, trilogy fight between two of the best flyweights and two of the most exciting flyweights we've ever seen. And then the heavyweight title, I don't know how we could amp it up any more than we already have. I may have called it the skyfall of heavyweight titles in the UFC. I just think it's such a great storyline how both guys trained together in the past. They've split gyms. Now they're meeting for the undisputed heavyweight title. I think it's going to be a great fight.
Now all of a sudden Barcelos is able to kind of get the head movement in there, and he's starting to land some shots of his own. As I say that, Victor Henry lands a few good ones and a nice right hand from Barcelos.
Yeah, Barcelos, very damaged. His face starting to show it.
Oh, he faked the takedown up for the uppercut. Oh, this is like, wow, out of the two cards, this fight of the year.
No, Giga versus Calvin Cater's better than that.
Heck of a fight. These guys are absolutely throwing down. Now it's Barcelos really starting
the victim of the moment.
Going for the takedown is Barcelos, defended by Henry.
Barcelos trying to get wild.
Oh, big right hand from Barcelos, and another one lands.
Victor Henry can eat a shot, though, can't he?
Yeah, Victor Henry, eats a left hand. Wow. Now his hands are starting to drop.
Still pressuring, though.
Yeah, Victor Henry now. Nice knee up the middle. Look at the output from these guys. Man, that's wild.
Yeah, exactly. Barcelos has laid at 139 significant strikes to Victor Henry's 144, so...
Barcelos looking like he's tired now. He went for the old boxing clinch there, and you're not going to get it. Lazy takedown attempt defended. Whew. Man, Victor Henry, holy smokes.
He came to fight, that's for sure. Whew,
wow.
A good fighter, too.
Yeah, Howney's done. Howney's done.
Okay, Craig, settle down. Howney might be done. Oh, no! Howney's getting hit hard right now.
Howney's out of energy.
Oh, he landed a big right hand. Right when you think he's done, he lands a big counter shot.
Maybe he's just faking us all out. Takedown attempt from Henry, gets the back.
Call that the Jean Volante, where I come from.
We're halfway through the third round. Holy smokes.
This has been an absolute war between these guys.
Victor Henry, the old foot stomps with a few minutes left.
I mean, they do the trick. And with Barcelos this tired, like, this can be hard for him to work out of, just this position.
Yeah, that really is it. I mean, these two guys have absolutely gone at it for the first 2.5 rounds.
They have. Jason Herzog all over those fence grabs. Best in the business.
You can't do it.
You can't.
Theo's saying Howney's done. Yeah, Howney's done.
It doesn't matter how skilled you are. Like, if you get tired, your skills fall off a cliff.
I mean, and the craziest thing is, for a guy that won for years and years to now be, a minute and a half away from his second consecutive loss, that's crazy.
And losing to a guy making his UFC debut, like, that's quite significant.
Victor Henry, I mean, coming in here, one of the biggest underdogs on the card.
A TKO due to thigh knees, perhaps?
And it doesn't get any easier when you beat a guy like Barcelos. Now, having said that, they have matched up some tenured UFC guys with some newcomers lately. And mixed bag results. Obviously, we've seen that tonight. And first fight on the... Howney's coming out swinging. First fight on the pay-per-view, you got Morales taking on Giles, which is a bit of a head-scratcher, I guess, but it could be a good fight. Now, these guys have a minute
head-scratcher?
left.
You had Morales to win.
At the start of the week. Howney going to the body.
Then I can't really be a head-scratcher.
But, I mean, you consider it, even like Gerald Mearshart was supposed to take on, who was it? Was it Azamat Murzakanov? Like, it's just kind of some of those ones where you go, huh?
Yeah, Gerald Mearshart only fights guys making their UFC. He hurt him with the head kick, I think.
Big, Howney!
Landing a big combo.
Get in there, Howney!
That's how you get back into the round, though. Because if he wins the second, and if that steals the third, then who knows?
Imagine. Howney's got 25 seconds or so to work with.
What a fight this has been.
Holy... Lands a nice right hand.
Yeah, Victor Henry's the tired one now.
Less than 20 seconds remain. Howney's got to pour it on if he wants a shot at a win.
He might have it.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Got to hammer away. Less than 5. Howney with a big kick. Big right hand from Henry. That's the end of the fight.
Howney evened it up at the end of the third round. I would not want to be a judge in that one.
That was an amazing fight. I mean, listen.
3 close rounds.
That's fight of the night so far. Both guys are hugging Josh Barnett.
A legend of the catch wrestling game.
Man, what a freaking wild fight we just had right there. I mean, Raoni Barcelos taking on Victor Henry. It doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, that was a great fight.
Oh.
Winner fights Tyrion Ware.
Yeah. I mean, that's insane.
That was a wild fight. That was great.
Now we get a commercial for
Hats
the rookie. Chronicles saying 29-28 Henry. I'd say 29-28 for somebody.
I would say 29-28 Henry, but I would not be... I wouldn't cry robbery if Barcelos got 29-28.
Gas. Yeah, YouTube will be a little late. There's going to be a lag between us and the card, and that is to be expected, especially once we get to that pay-per-view portion. Pause it. Don't spoil it for anybody over there in the comments section. But yeah, I mean, hey, great start so far. And yeah, the prelims have been great. Like, I know a lot of people were kind of upset with some of the bookings and stuff, but man, every fight's been good. Even first fight of the night, Hansen Jazz Davicius, that was a good fight.
It's called spade a spade. The prelims weren't very good, like on paper. There's not normally this many fighters making their debut on a pay-per-view. Normally these are fairly stacked cards, but no, you're right. It definitely has delivered above expectation. And the good thing too is when you do showcase a lot of rookie talent on a pay-per-view, there are a lot of eyes drawn to them. So like Jack Della Maddalena, he had a star-making performance, so hopefully he will be able to capitalize on that.
All right, Bruce Buffer with the decision. We'll wait on it. Joe Rogan's got the smile. Victor Henry's feeling it.
I would say Victor Henry, though.
Let's see what this decision is. I'm thinking Henry got the win here.
Split.
Oh, there you go. Victor Henry with the big-time win, beating Raoni Barcelos.
That was
wow.
impressive.
And we get two people that I have no idea who they are.
They won free tickets on the radio. They don't even know.
Massive win for Victor Henry. I'll post that one up on the Instagram. But yeah, Pedro His Own Crew. That's Barcelos' second loss in a row. It's crazy.
Yeah, and you gotta wonder too, like you said, a guy 34 years old in the bantamweight division. That's an old age for this division.
They both are, though.
That's true. Very good point. Just, it's tough to have 2 losses, though, in this division at that age. So hopefully they give him another chance because he is so exciting. And if Sam Alvey can fight on a 5-fight losing streak, then hopefully they throw old Raoni a bone. But that was a great fight. I don't feel like anyone really lost that.
82% of the fans at Fight Night picks going with Raoni Barcelos in that fight. Obviously, we both had Raoni there. And I mean, Matt, so far through the prelims, that's what, 6 fights? We got 4 and 2 so far. We got the Raoni Barcelos Victor Henry fight and Kay Hansen Jazz Davicius wrong. Now, Matt, we have 5 fights left to really make a mark. Can't wait for it, but man, a giant win there for Victor Henry.
That was a massive win for him. Really nice performance, too. Like, that was gritty. He came back, he fought through adversity. He had really good gas tank, too, which is impressive when you're fighting a guy, and when you're fighting at such high output. So, yeah, that was a great fight from Victor Henry. Really impressive.
We didn't even get to see the best part of his game, too, is jiu-jitsu. So if he can strike like that, and you can start to put a roll together, I mean, there are some older bantamweights right now that are still making noise. I mean, Jose Aldo up near the top, and geez, I mean, really,
okay,
he's only
I don't know
a
if
year
I'd
older.
compare Victor Henry to one of the greatest
Dominic
fighters.
Cruz, but there's still older fighters still doing it in the rankings. So for Victor Henry, nothing's out of the question at this point, especially the win over such a highly touted guy in Raoni Barcelos.
I don't know if I'd compare Victor Henry to 2 of the greatest fighters we've ever seen.
Now, Phoenix, I did see the victory lap over there in the comments section. You got it, but the only thing I'll say, as like the old kick in the nuts, is, hey, if Kay Hansen didn't get the first takedown, Jasmine was going to win, and she did not get the first takedown. She got about the 5th, but it didn't really matter. And a nice sweep from Jazz Davicius on that one, too.
It was just a really disappointing performance from Kay Hansen. Just, she's going to fall in the Stage Northcutt category. Where it's like you're very hyped, you're very young, you get brought up a little bit too early. Maybe she can go back to Invicta, have kind of like an Angela Hill part to her career where she goes to Invicta, can improve there, and then come back. But I just don't really know what you do. Like, it's sort of the Macy Barber problem. You get pushed, you don't really meet those high expectations. Like, Darren Till's facing the same thing.
Yeah.
Darren Till's had, 7 main events? He's only won 1 of them, and it was against Cowboy. Like, at a certain point, you get pushed a little bit past where your skill set takes you. And it happens. It's not really your fault. It happens to everybody unless you're a champion. So it'll be interesting to see what or if if they give her another fight next.
Well, keep hitting up the chat over there. We're getting ready for the pay-per-view portion of UFC 270. And thanks so much for joining the Fight Companion. If this is the first time,
hello.
We really do thank you. Chronicle MMA, the Blue Dash, Tyler over there saying, let's go. Big Mar talking about the Kay Hansen. I'd like to see that. Yeah, I mean, if Hansen's able to go back, bit of a developmental type of thing, because at 7-5, I mean, you're really in no woman's land, especially being only, 22 years old?
She has the same win ratio as Matt Brown, okay? And Matt Brown's only fought great guys for the last decade and a half. So, it's not a great place to be when you're considered a top prospect of your division.
Really is a tricky one there. And I mean, yeah, some big-time fights coming up. Let's throw it on over to the second view here, Matt. And the first fight that we have on the card, it's a couple of guys that can get it done in different ways. I mean, Morales taking on Giles. What can you say about it?
I think Trevin Giles is going to look really good at welterweight. I'm excited for his move down in weight because I have compared him, and I know this is going to sound a little ridiculous, but when Robert Whittaker moved from welterweight to middleweight, he was just another guy, welterweight. Yeah, he won the Ultimate Fighter smashes, but how many guys have won the Ultimate Fighter and then they just sort of fizzle out in the UFC? Probably more than we can actually name have won and actually gone on to have extremely successful careers. So the fact that he had won that didn't really prove a lot with his move up to middleweight, but he just kept on getting better and better and better because we found out that was his natural weight class. I think we might be able to figure out the same thing about Trevin Giles. I'm not sure about that. We're going to figure that out tonight, of course, but I do think that if we see his aggressive boxing style that we saw at 185 pounds, and let's say his power does translate. He had, I would say, average power at 185. It wasn't life-shattering or life-altering, but he had decent power. If he put his hands on you, he'd put you down. If he has similar power at 170 pounds with his type of boxing, that could be a really big problem for a lot of guys in the division, especially he's a big strong guy. He's got good wrestling fundamentals, so if he could put it all together at welterweight, I think we could have a contender in Trevin Giles.
Travis, I tossed some on the za for the gram for Murnau saying, is it over for Howney? We're not getting ranked.
No.
We're not getting ranked.
We're not getting ranked, but he's not going to get cut, especially not after a fight like that. The one thing that the UFC does reward is exciting fights. They have been consistent about that, other than Sam Alvey, but that's a conversation for another day. It's just, if you do put on fun fights, they will normally give you sort of a 3-4 fight losing streak instead of just a 2 and then you're on your way out. And I can't name a boring Honey Barcelos fight off the top of my head, can you?
No, I mean, they usually deliver.
Exactly. So if you just throw him on a prelim, you can normally bet that that's going to be a good fight at the 135-pound division, so I wouldn't be concerned about him losing his job.
I mean, Sean V usually go hard in the paint in the comments, but I will say this. I mean, for Giles, his fight IQ can be questionable in certain fights. Obviously, his last fight was one of them where my hands are down, I'm boxing Opdrikas Duplessis, my hands are still down, I get caught, I'm done. But then if you go back and you look at his fight against Bavon Lewis, or the fight that he had after that against Roman Dolidze, really, really high fight IQ in those fights. He did very, very well to go along with the skills that he possesses. So I think this is going to be a great fight. And we didn't even really talk about the man himself, Michael Morales. This is a guy coming out of Ecuador, 3-time national wrestling champion, Muay Thai champion. His parents are judokas. His mother competed in Beijing in 2008 in judoka. This guy is as high level as far as those particulars that you can bring into the cage. And we saw that out of a guy like Victor Henry in his last fight, a guy who had all the tools. How's it going to fare in the UFC's octagon? I can't wait to see what Michael Morales looks like, because in the tape study, yeah, occasionally, working the hands. There are a couple things that are left to be desired. Some positional things, a little bit left to be desired. But I think this is going to be a very, very good fight. And Chronicle saying the debuting fighters are doing well. Some of them are, and some of them aren't. Now, I mean, Della Maddalena and Pete Rodriguez, a debuting fighter, had to lose. Simon Oliveira pulled Gilly every time he could. We told you he would.
Didn't work.
And he did, and it's just kind of been a little bit of a mixed bag for them, but I think this is going to be a great one. Blue Dash saying, I've got Michael Morales in this, but even if he loses, that's the thing. If he has a good performance, Dana White was really, really high on him. He said, I see signs of possible greatness over on Contender Series. With some prospects, though, honest to goodness, Matt, if you watch after the fights, it's just get over here. You had a good fight.
Promoting a fighter, I don't put that much stock into it. I think he will be a good prospect no matter what the result of this fight is, but it's a big step up in competition to go from Contender Series to Trevin Giles.
So we move into our next fight. Cody Stamen got a tan. Sayed Nurmagomedov saw a ghost like we did, and we're all the same shade of pale. But in this fight, Voodoo's hanging out now. Thank you, Voodoo. And Chris N was saying we need top-level play-by-play, Joe Buck level. All right. I can't. I mean, unless Matt can do a Tim McCarver.
I don't do impressions.
Oh, you don't do impressions. All right, well, fair enough, Matt. We have Cody Stamann taking on the man himself, Said Nurmagomedov. Now, I made the switch of the pick because I watched that fight against Barcelos that Nurmagomedov had, and I really kind of considered every factor, including the fact that we haven't seen him in the cage in over a year. He was supposed to fight last year, was Nurmagomedov. Some visa issues, so he was forced out of it. He did ultimately have that fight against Mark Striegel as his last time out, but Mark Striegel, Cody Stamann, there's a big gap in competition. However, when you look at this matchup, obviously Cody Stamann is married to the game that is wrestling. And Said Nurmagomedov is married to, what were those spinning toys from the 90s?
Beyblades?
No, the ones that you pop and they go up in the air and spin.
Beyblades is a way better reference, but okay.
Well, still, but Said Nurmagomedov,
come on.
He's from that ilk. So when I look at this fight, it is a lot of fun. It's just whose style wins out so far. And tonight, there's been a lot of great wrestlers. Can Said Nurmagomedov buck that trend? Because we know how good his striking is.
Oh yeah, he is by far the superior striker in this matchup, but with Cody Stamann, is he ever going to get better at striking? Like, I compare him to Ben Simmons because that is the accurate comp up until this point. Very good coming in, but he hasn't evolved much at all. And yes, I know you bring up the Brian Kelleher fight, but he's just so much better at wrestling than Brian Kelleher that it kind of makes him the better striker because it makes Kelleher's hands drop and it makes him more hesitant on the feet. So, for me, I just don't think we're going to see it. Like, if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's probably a duck at the end of the day. So, I don't think Cody Stamann's going to become something more, but please sell me on the new and improved Cody Stamann.
Well, I mean, if you look at it for Stamann, yeah, he's in a bit of a weird spot coming into this one because, yes, he's an underdog. Yes, he's lost his last two fights. One to Jimmy Rivera, and then he lost to Marab. But, I mean, you're losing to Marab, who's hanging out with Zviad Lazishvili. How long's that suspension? It's a long suspension.
Like 17 years.
Yeah, that's a long one. So, yeah, that is a tricky one. Jake O'Shea. I'm going with Fight Night Pop, and I went with the SodaStream Pepsi myself. SodaStream Pepsi. Could hit up a Molson, but I will not. All right, Matt. So this fight, it is a lot of fun. I can't wait for it, but yeah, we'll see what happens in this one. And honest to goodness, like, they've all been good so far. If Andrea Fiallo, Michelle Pereira can be nearly as good as Victor Henry, Raoni Barcelos, I mean, we are laughing because they've all been great, but this one right here, two premier strikers. And for Andrea Fiallo, I mean, he's such an interesting guy because he loses to Chidi and Njokuani when he's 22 over with Bellator. And Chidi was one of those guys, like, we were kind of on the ground floor of Bellator. Even before, like, quite a ways before Fight Night Picks started, we were watching every Bellator event. And, you know, you watch as many UFC events as you could. But
we're
Bellator,
pretty cool guys.
Ear to the ground. And Chidi and Njokuani was one of those guys, like Fernando Gonzalez, so on and so forth. Like the Bellator True Blue, like Pat Curran.
Fernando Gonzalez.
So many interesting fighters. So when it comes to a guy like Andrea Fiallo, he's a guy that you know about. You've seen. 2020 wasn't his year. He went 0-2 with a no contest, but one of his opponents missed weight by 10 pounds in his fight, and it was close enough against Antonio Dos Santos Jr. When he fought in the no contest, I mean, he could have had a draw in those 2 rounds. He really did pour it on, hurt his opponent, Glyco França. And in the fight against Chris Curtis, very even fight through the first 2 rounds, and then Chris Curtis ends up finishing it in the third. All that to say, I think this is going to be a great fight because for Michelle, I mean, whether it's Wild Michelle or not, if it's still reserved Michelle, I'm still all in on this fight.
Exactly, because no matter what happens, it's going to be fun. The way Andre Fiallo fights is going to force engagements between these two guys, and if they do start fighting each other, and if Pereira is able to land some power shots early, then Fiallo's going to be hurt by them, and that really is the question for me. It's who's going to get finished, and at what point is a fighter going to get finished? Because in the first 2 rounds, I do like Michelle's ability to land body kicks, land leg kicks, and land some of those water in the basement type techniques that are really going to last over time. Because I think he can sort of even the odds in the 3rd round if he is able to land enough of those damaging blows, sort of south of the shoulders, if you will. But if Fiallo is able to come on strong in the 3rd round, he could finish Pereira. Like, Nico Price sort of set the game plan. I know he lost, but if you could just eat power shots for 2 rounds, it's not an enjoyable game plan, but it works. Eat power shots for 2 rounds and just force him backwards in the 3rd. You would have a lot of success. It just matters if you can land the power shots to put him down or not. So I think Fiallo hits a little bit harder than Nico Price. The question is he as durable? I don't think so, but if he is, it'll be a great fight.
So it should be a really interesting one here. I mean, in this one, 85% of the fans at Fight Night Picks going with Michelle Pereira to get the win. And then we move into our next one. And Ryan Money's saying last 2 fights. Who you guys got in the 2 main fights, Matt? We have Brandon Moreno taking on Deiveson Figueiredo. And for Deiveson Figueiredo, I mean, he walks around like he walked out of a Gucci store. He's taking on the man himself, the champion of Brandon Moreno. Will it be and still in tonight's co-main event? That really is the question. Or will it be and again? Do you think Bruce Buffer would ever say that?
What, and again?
Yeah, and again.
I think he did one time, didn't he?
I don't know if he will, but we have Deiveson Figueiredo. And for me, I mean, beating Benavidez in the 2 fights, the first one he misses weight, so he doesn't get the belt. The second one, he just brutalizes him again. He goes out there, takes on Alex Perez, and absolutely mollywops him. Then 2 weeks later, fights Brandon Moreno. Wins that fight, less a point, it's a draw. So then he goes into the rematch. He's a minus 200 favorite. He does lose his last time out. He comes into this fight as the underdog. He's 34 years old. Are there miles on the clock? This is really going to be a prove-it fight for Deiveson Figueiredo, because I think if Figueiredo loses this fight, I mean, he almost has to reevaluate his fighting future. Is it at 25? Because he made weight great at this one. I mean, he came in at 124. Or is the future bantamweight?
I think he knocks fools dead at bantamweight. Like, honestly, I really think Figueiredo fits right in at bantamweight because he has so much power at this weight class that there's no way it wouldn't translate it. He's so big. I know this weight cut wasn't that bad for him, but if he could pack on even a little bit more muscle and just sort of let himself enjoy fight camp a little bit more, I think he could have a lot of success. Now, if he wins tonight, who cares? He's going to stay at this weight class and probably roll for quite a ways longer, but it will be interesting, especially if he does lose, because Brandon Moreno has lost to Pantoja and he has a draw with Askar Askarov, the other 2 top contenders in this division. So Askarov has a win over Pantoja, close fight, but people seem to think now that Pantoja is almost ahead of him in the rankings. It's very odd how it's all set up right now. So it'll be interesting to see how both divisions settle, because at bantamweight there's that weird logjam. You've got TJ, who's the #1 contender, even though he only won 1 controversial fight coming off of a drug suspension and now he's hurt. You've got Aljamain, who's supposed to be fighting Petr Yan, but no one really knows if Aljo is 100% yet or not. Corey Sandhagen's still really good, but it's a ever-evolving division, if you will, so it'll be interesting to see where Figueiredo does fit into there if he does, because they could do Figueiredo versus, like, Cody Garbrandt pretty easy. It wouldn't be a good fight for Cody Garbrandt, but I think that would be a fight that sells.
So if you look at it at Fight Night picks for the total votes, 64% of the fans going with Brandon Moreno. It's 361 total votes to 203. I've got Moreno, and I've got him as the second leg of the question mark kicks parlay, along with the fight to start the second round between Fialho and Michel Pereira, but I can't wait for it. Should be a great one. Michigonian loves the walkout from the Assassin Baby. I mean, who doesn't get excited for his fights? And we move into our main event of the evening. Francis Ngannou, out of these 2 guys, in his tenure in the UFC, has grown leaps and bounds. And he's obviously been around with the promotion for much longer, so it's easier to say that. But the quicker guy to get the title shot actually was Cyril Gane out of these 2. I mean, obviously undefeated at 10-0. If you look at it for Gane, I mean, it's just been an absolute wild ride, taking on guys like Rafael Pessoa and Don'Tale Mayes to get up to JDS, to get up to Lewis and Volkov. But if you look at it, 6 fights, 2 years, a month, and a day between a debut and a title shot for Francis Ngannou. For Cyril Gane, it only took a year, 11 months, 28 days, very close for those 2.
Here's the thing that I worry about in this fight. Like, I predicted Francis Ngannou would win, but in the back of my mind, not even in the back of my mind, I realized there's a very good opportunity that Cyril Gane does to Francis who was Khalil Roundtree Jr.? Who was the guy who sold a bunch of Wolf tickets on? He kicked his ACL.
Eric Anders when he
No. He just beat him.
Oh, Modestus Bukauskas.
Thank you. You thought that guy was really good, but anyways, he could do that to Francis.
Wow.
He wasn't great, Craig. Like that, he could do that to Francis and completely outclass him on the feet. But on the flip side, you predicted Cyril Gane. I'm sure there's a big part of you that feels like Francis could land some massive overhand left, just end the fight.
It's almost like I said it in every video.
Well, no, here's the thing. This main event is so volatile that it could go any way.
Right hand full extension on a Gane backup with his hands down. I mean, that's a poster that we could definitely see, and I made sure to pepper that one in every single video. Michigonian saying, make sure to smash the like button, everyone. Only 79 tuning in, now 81, but definitely means a lot because we like doing a lot of this content. And the biggest part of growing the channel is going to be a lot of the fun stuff, and hopefully it's the fun stuff that we enjoy that you guys do as well. So whether it's keeping score, whether it's early stoppage, if you haven't checked them out, we have a lot of fun talking MMA. And the last early stoppage, John Franklin and I hadn't done one since November, and I think we kind of hit the ground running, had a lot of fun with that one. So Morales, Giles making the walk here. Tons of experience, Trevin Giles, from the regional scene against guys like Ryan Spann, Brendan Allen. In the UFC, he's taken on a great level of competition. Like, it's not even close, the guys that Morales has fought compared to the guys that Giles has fought.
And that's why I think this fight's going to be a really big wake-up call for Morales. Again, it's nothing against him and his ceiling as a prospect. It's just, normally your first fight in the UFC isn't against somebody with Trevin Giles' experience and skill level. So, for me, again, it's nothing against Morales. He has good grappling. He has a very unique style of grappling, too, which sets him apart from just the average unranked fighter at this weight class. But when you try to set him up against Trevin Giles, I think Giles is going to get on the inside, beat him up to the body, hit him to the head with a big combo, and I do think this fight's going to look a lot like that Bevon Lewis fight. Now, I think Morales will have a much better UFC career than Bevon Lewis did, although Bevon Lewis had much more hype coming into the UFC than Morales, but I think this will be a great fight.
Well, flip it on over to our regular view so everybody gets a bit of an idea of what we're going for now. I changed it from the last one, so if anybody's tuning into the other fight companions, I moved the timer and everything down. I made the people smaller so you can see a little bit more of us, because in the other ones you could just kind of see like here up. So now you get a little bit more of a view. Some people have said they want to see the table in view. You don't need to see the table. I mean, we're sitting on like bar chairs ahead of the wall of stuff.
Yeah.
And listen, Stipe Miocic, he gets a front row seat to the action there. Bobblehead Stipe. But in this fight, yeah, I mean, the one knock, and I don't know if I mentioned it, but from Morales, when I watched the tape on him, the thing that I couldn't really get, he kind of walks guys forward, and he has great extension on his shots because he does have a 79-inch reach. But the thing that I noticed is a guy like Trevin Giles throws such a low output for leg kicks. I mean, 4.125% of his overall strikes are leg kicks. The most he's ever thrown in a fight was 3 against Zach Cummings. But if he decided to throw leg kicks, Michael Morales never switches stances, always pressures forward from orthodox. I think if you were able to throw some leg kicks, mess up his timing, it would be a very easy way to beat Morales. But listen, we haven't seen it so far. So over there in the comments section, James is saying, "What's up, fellas? First fight companion with you guys, but have been a follower for a while." James, thanks so much for joining in. It's been a great night of fights. That last one between Henry and Barcelos was amazing. And I know I hyped myself up for tonight because there were so many people saying like the pay-per-view portion wasn't good, this and that. They've been great so far. Morales drinking some water, getting ready to make his first entrance to the UFC's Octagon.
It's going to be a great fight. It'll be interesting because if he does win, like, you don't get easy fights after you beat Trevin Giles. So it will be really interesting because he got the hardest UFC debut against any prospect this evening. Now, Victor Henry isn't really a prospect. That's why I do set him apart a little bit. Because he had 26, 25 fights coming
26 pro fights.
So exactly. He's not really in the prospect category. Like you said, he's 34 years old. So again, a little bit older than these other fighters. But for Morales to be getting a fighter like Giles off of Contender Series, it tells you how much stock the promotion has in him this early on. Because let's say he does hurt Giles to the body with a kick, get a rear naked choke in the first round. Like, it's off to the races from that point. He'll look really good.
The one tricky thing here, the Mummy Cats saying, Mummy Cats checking in. We love fighting and making rock music. Mummy Cats, let's get an intro for Fight Night Picks. I'm dead serious about that one. If there's 2 things we could always use, it's intro songs and energy drinks. If anybody knows a sponsor on that one, listen. We are always looking for those. But Matt, I think it's going to be a great one. Brendan's saying Frank Trigg reffing tonight is awesome.
It's been good.
It is a lot of fun. It's always fun to see Frank Trigg.
Exactly. The happiest man in the world, perhaps. Cheese and hard. Good to see.
Jolly is Trigg in California. No Josh Rosenthal either. Usually when they go to California, Josh makes an appearance.
You could smell Josh Rosenthal from a hallway and a half away.
Lord.
You know, Craig. That's sticky, icky.
Derek saying Houston, Texas here. Where y'all at? And James has Giles, Stamen, Fialio, Devison, and Cyril. The only one I'm different on is that Figueiredo pick. But we get the particulars on these 2 guys. You see that reach advantage for Morales. And somebody countered it. But yeah, this is Trevin Giles' first ever fight at welterweight. So I'm going to get this out of the way as they give you the particulars because I meant to. This is the main view. You have the logo in the middle. You will get the 5-minute timer. Now, we have the opportunity, once that 5-minute timer starts, if there's a nut shot, if there's an eye poke, we can pause it. We can pause it, and then we can start it back again. So if you're going to sync up with us, now is the opportunity. Jake O'Shea saying not a fan of the Venom shorts. I think they're slick. I think they are. The one thing is the gear's not all that affordable. If you're a fan, you want to pick some of it up, but that's the only knock on it, really.
Have you, Craig? We like UFC as much as a person possibly can. I couldn't imagine being like, you know what, I'd look really good in a pair of UFC fight kit shorts.
I could John Danaher and wear rash guard all day.
Do you know how silly it would look if you had like Kelvin Gastelum gray shorts on, just like doing your workouts?
Kevin is hitting us up from Bainbridge, Georgia. Really want to thank you for tuning in. And Rob Lawrence, the Giles. I mean, I switch pick from the start of the week to the end of the week because the weight cut was the thing that I wanted to see. I like what Giles looked like, but I wouldn't call it a lock by any means. There was somebody else that I wanted to hit up. Derek, you said you're from Houston. I've only ever been to Houston once.
Never.
Twice to the airport, and I ate Jack in the Box both times. We don't have that.
How do you feel about James Harden? I'd be very bitter.
Yeah, probably. Jack in the Box, good stuff. Ecuador's own Michael Morales in the red corner. Mike Beltran, our referee. I will get the timer ready. We can get set for our first fight on the main card. It should be a great one between these two guys. Morales taking on...
We talked to that lady.
The man himself. Ariane?
We
Celeste? Did. We did.
On the Marcus Deegan show.
The same day that we talked to the man himself, Brandon Moreno.
That was just a wild day for everyone.
Patrick Ambrose is tuning in as well. Here we go. We're getting
Who
set
else
for
was there?
fight.
This sounds like the Wizard of Oz, and you were there. Who else was there? Because he's made quite the name for himself ever since.
You're telling me.
Reigning! Defending!
Brandon Moreno.
The guy who introduced himself to Jorge Masvidal?
Oh, yeah. Ultimate Food Champion, Matt Perino.
Thank you. I forgot
he was
name.
a co-host on that show. The new Game Bred FC announcer.
I apologize for the last 30 seconds, folks.
Pretty cool stuff right there. But, yeah, here we go. I mean, between Morales and Giles. And Morales really targeting that front leg of Giles. There's a leg kick from Trevin Giles.
That's what you like to see.
He drops
right
Morales.
hand.
First right hand from Giles. That's a knockdown right there.
Oh, definitely. That was a hard shot. So, Giles looks great so far in his welterweight debut.
Trevin Giles attempting to wrestle the wrestler. Now, this is where it gets interesting because for Trevin Giles, 80% takedown accuracy in the UFC at middleweight, 75% takedown defense. We'll have to see how that plays out on his energy systems here in his welterweight debut.
I mean, I would separate and start landing shots because the one punch he's landed so far, he hurt his opponent. So maybe he feels like he has a big strength advantage in these situations. But if I'm Giles, I just beat him up a distance.
Almost got the back was Giles, but Morales able to get out of it. And now it's still Giles pressuring the action up against the cage. But listen, more than a minute in, Trevin Giles, that's the welcome that you get into the UFC. You eat a big right hand.
I mean, yeah. There's only one way to know how a guy's going to face adversity, though, and that's face adversity the first second.
Takedown from Trevin Giles. Wow.
Trevin Giles. A good MMA fighter, maybe.
Trevin Giles getting into position. Does he have the head and arm choke from this spot?
I don't think
Looks like he's got it.
Yeah, but if he gets it from half guard,
he's angling.
The strongest man alive.
Trevin Giles.
He
that's tight.
This will be wild.
He's going to tap.
He almost did.
Did he tap? Did he tap right there?
I don't know.
Now he's on top. Giles still going for this choke. It looked like he tapped.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened. It came close, but I'm not sure. It didn't look definitive to me.
Morales now on top with plenty of time to work. I mean, listen,
Bad
Giles.
situation for Giles now.
Giles still holding on for the submission. Now he's out.
Yeah, for Giles,
Morales
probably
is out.
Going, trying to get back up to your
Giles
feet.
going armbar.
Not going to get it, though, again. Oh,
Morales
good job
gets
getting
up.
back
Big
up
right hand for Morales.
I don't think it landed, though.
Yeah, that's a really interesting sequence of events. You had the drop down there from Morales. Now he's going to work his own takedowns.
Great first round so far from Giles, but he's really got to defend this takedown.
Morales pushing the action up against the cage halfway through our first round so far. And it's been a good showing from Giles, but Morales really pressuring here.
He is. It's wild that Giles was the middleweight, but Morales looks like the bigger fighter.
Oh, 100%. I mean, same height for both of these guys, but it is obviously a big reach advantage for Morales. He definitely looks bigger. And here comes Trevin Giles. Now we're centering up. Now, the one thing that I did notice out of Morales in the tape study, and I'm seeing it a little bit here, you have a Superman jab from Morales and a kick.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
But for Morales, his hands will start to come down as the fight goes on. So we'll have to pay attention to that one. Now, Giles here in this fight, not looking like he did in his last time out against Duplessis. We're not just jumping on the balls of our feet with our hands down. He is keeping the defense up there.
Ooh. Giles backing up with his chin straight up, though. He's got to keep the hands up.
That cost him in his last fight. We did see that. Minute and a half remaining here so far. Our first of 5 on this main card.
Definitely round 1 for Giles, though, so far, I'd say. He had the knockdown. He had some good control on the feet.
Morales really just starting to wing some punches. Takes a big, deep breath right there. Ooh, Giles hit one!
Giles is hurt. Yeah,
Giles
he
hurt.
Rushed in, got reckless.
Morales hammered him. This cost Trevin Giles often, and he is on. Oh, he lands a big-time left hand.
Both guys.
Oh!
Giles is knocked out.
Giles looks like he's out.
Yeah, this is
Mike
over.
Beltran getting a good look.
This is not a good position.
Oh, and you should never
What a
switch your
debut
picks.
for Morales.
That's what we learned here and last weekend. Big time win for Michael Morales. First round knockout.
That
his
was
UFC
amazing.
debut. 13-0. He's setting himself up for some big time fights moving forward.
I don't know how Trevin Giles is upset about that. He looked like he was flatlined up against the cage. He recovered a little bit, but he was eating a lot of shots.
Yeah, big time win for Michael Morales. Second
Wow.
Ecuadorian fighter in the UFC.
That was impressive.
And a big time win there for him after getting stunned to start the fight.
Yeah, that was huge. He fought through adversity, fought through some really bad spots in the ground too, and he looked great.
Well, let's have a look at the numbers in this one, Matt. And you can see it right there. I mean, Morales really able to land well in this fight.
Yeah, he was able to. Again, just a really, really nice debut performance from him. That was phenomenal stuff. And for a guy who's, 22 years old? Like, he's still this young. He's still improving quite a bit. Like, it's been really impressive.
So Morales gets the win. 55% of the fans on Fight Night Picks had Trevin Giles in that one. And Voodoo, yeah, it was a really weird stoppage in that Frivola-Valdez fight. But Giles just not using the old striking defense and lunging in as Jay Espinoza 90 hanging out with us here for the main card. But yeah, big time win for Morales in the first round.
That was a great performance. Wow. And a knockout of a durable guy too, especially at 170. That was nice. Wrong. I don't think it'll be the Robert Whittaker of the 170-pound weight division.
No,
it happens.
That's not the move down to 170 that you should have had. So a big time one there, and yeah, I mean we have some more great fights coming up. But yeah, so far if you go down through it and you look at this overall card, you had a finish with Demopoulos in a wild fight against Gomez Juarez. You had Frivola finishing. You had Jack Della Maddalena getting a finish, and now Morales. We still have Stamen, Pereira, Moreno, and Ngannou taking on Gane, Figueiredo, Fiallo, and Nurmagomedov. So it has been absolutely insane. Cool Banana Boy, thanks for hanging out. And Michigonian had Morales in that fight.
Good job, guys.
I never have to doubt myself because now I've lost 2 back-to-back weeks switching the picks on question mark kicks. But listen, a giant win for a very young guy who's done a great job. And I mean, those are 2 really good debuts. You look at it from Morales here, you look at it for Henry, and the guys that they beat too, all of a sudden you kind of threw yourself into the deep end.
Oh, 100%. It's the whole Roosevelt Roberts Jim Miller situation where winning that fight might be the worst thing for you. Now, for Roberts, losing that fight was also the worst thing for him. But yeah, when you beat a guy like Giles or Barcelo, it's like you only have to you're only going to fight good guys from that point on. So with Morales, it will be interesting. He still is very young, but at 13-0, that's a great record. So maybe he gets an Alex Morono next. That could be fun. Cowboys lost about 1,000 fights in a row. Wait, who's he fighting? I think he has a fight coming up soon.
Morales, Gary. Gary just had a fight announced. That's the only tricky one.
True. That would be a good one, though. I'm a fan of prospect versus prospect fights because to me, you're not going to cut a prospect after one loss anyways. So if those prospects are who you think they are, then they're probably going to fight again in the future anyways.
Big time win there for the 13-0 Morales. 10 wins by knockout. So a huge one there, especially in the debut. And I mean, listen, you had the high praise from the president. Now you get a big win on the biggest stage like that. And this was a fight that would have been, quote-unquote, buried on the prelims otherwise, too.
Oh, and now Joe Rogan's going to talk about you forever. It's DMT, Elk Meat, and Michael Morales. Nothing else.
Michael Morales making himself known in a debut. Matt, I mean, if we look at our next fight, Cody Stamen, Said Nurmagomedov, This is one where we talk about it as I battle the hiccups.
I was going to
hand
say.
it off to you. Cody Stamann with the experience, and
What else does he have, Craig?
Said Nurmagomedov with the mystique.
He does. Said Nurmagomedov is a mysterious fighter because he is good at everything. Like, he is a good wrestler. He is a good grappler. We just don't really see that side of his game all that often until it comes to the defensive side of things. Now, defensively, his grappling is pretty good. He can get outworked in some positions. So if Cody Stamann does have success, it will be because he's outworking Nurmagomedov to a lot of those top positions. And he is probably the stronger guy when it is kind of down to the brass bolts of things. But I think Nurmagomedov is the better MMA fighter. I think he's the better scrambler. I think he's the faster fighter on the feet. I think he has hiccups less than Craig. And I do think that he's going to be able to outstrike Cody Stamann quite a bit in this fight. So if he is able to really hurt Dwayne Wade in the crowd, I'm a big Flash fan. So I think Nurmagomedov will be able to beat Cody Stamann. But this is a great fight and a really fun matchup.
Tony Ferguson, a guy who everybody wants to see fight again, maybe. Justin Gaethje in front of him.
That's awkward.
That's really, really awkward. But Tony's still smiling, so hey.
We all get along.
You like to see it. Yeah. Michigonian saying that the translator's chipper. I wish I knew his name. I don't know his name, sadly.
Why are you looking at me like I know what a UFC translator's name is?
I need to get scared or something.
I don't know. That was a scary performance from Michael Morales.
But when we look at our next fight, Stamann taking on Nurmagomedov, I mean, it is, again, a clash of styles. Said's one of those guys, so he does have very good scrambles. It's kind of an underrated bit of his game.
Without a doubt. And honestly, I think it's one of the highlights of his game. Like, he is a phenomenal scrambler because he is so quick with everything he does. He reacts to things very fast. But this is my issue. If he is always reacting to what Cody Stamann's doing, and Stamann is able to get on into his hips, he's going to finish those takedown attempts 9 times out of 10. So, for me, it'll matter, can Nurmagomedov get that first move off to sort of separate the hands of Stamann, or to get up off of his back if it does come to that situation? But, again, for me, it really does come down to speed on the feet, be that with the takedown defense or the striking offense. And I do think that sides with Nurmagomedov.
2 inches of height for Nurmagomedov, and you've got 6 inches of reach. I really got to get rid of the hiccups. But when I do look at it for Nurmagomedov, you talk about level of competition. It's nowhere near the guys that Cody Stamann's fought. I mean, a split decision win over Scoggins, the win over Hamosh where he finished him, still a green behind the ears Hamosh in the UFC, a loss to Barcelos. That was relatively close jumpings. And then the win over Striegel. It has been a bit of a mixed bag so far.
It has been, and this is my problem. Like, I think Nurmagomedov's going to win, but I don't use his win over Mark Striegel as a big talking point. That's why I get upset when you're like, oh, well, Cyril Gane beat Dontel Mace, so he'll probably beat Francis Ngannou. Like, I don't think every opponent you fight is a great example of, oh, hey, now we can take some positives from that and take it to the next fight. I just think Nurmagomedov, again, I like the elements of his fighting style slightly more than Stamann. And with Stamann, when you start to see a wrestler get out wrestled, I wonder if now he does start to invest a little bit more into the stand-up. And let's say he does come into this fight trying to out-stand up Said Nurmagomedov first, and then wrestling is his plan B, then he's probably going to get lit up.
Matt, it should be a good fight. I got to try and scare myself again. The Mummy Cat saying late money coming in on Stamann here.
That's the problem. Nurmagomedov's too big of a favorite. I don't really agree with the odds on this fight, but I do still think Nurmagomedov's going to win, and I care more about that than anything. I can't let Craig win 4 years in a row. He's not Bill Russell.
I got to get rid of the hiccups. Holy
smokes. Oh my goodness. At least I can keep it together.
But a heck of a fight between these two. And over 100 tuning in so far. If you can toss us a like, it will go a long way towards building the channel. The hiccups are here and they are not going away. I'm going to compose myself.
I'm just thinking, like, imagine telling your friends right now, don't listen to Joe Rogan, John Anik, and Daniel Cormier. This guy's hiccuping on YouTube, and I think you should check it out. Not our best selling point. Cody Stamann, though, again, if he could ever get the stand-up together, he'd be a great fighter. Like, if you could mix in the stand-up of Yair Rodriguez with the wrestling game of Cody Stamann, you'd be the greatest fighter of all time.
Zabit Nurmagomedov in the first 2 rounds.
I think Yair beats Zabit. That's my hottest take ever. Not really. I don't think it's that hot of a take anymore, but I really do think that Yair knocks out Zabit. Hot take.
Hot take.
Yair has insane cardio for a guy who throws, like, flying knees and spinning kicks, and Zabit doesn't. And that's the big problem. Like, if Zabit and Yair fight in a 5-round fight, and Zabit can't get those weird trip takedowns, and they are standing up in round 4, Yair's going to tee off on him like something you couldn't imagine. So I don't think that fight would be very competitive.
Victor Padilla hanging out with the guys, and I think I've got it figured out now. They have left me. Now, Matt, a big-time fight like this, I can't wait for it. Pablo wants me to turn purple instead of red, as light as I am. That would make it interesting. But a big-time one. Sports Bet Guru saying, what's up, guy? And Derek saying, should have had a Molson, LOL. I might grab one before the end of the night as we have fun here on the main card. But,
wild.
Matt, a fight like this, I mean, for Nurmagomedov, the other thing, too, and we kind of touched on the fact that Stamann definitely taken on the higher level of competition out of these two guys. And if you do look at it for him, again, he has lost his last 2 fights to Merab.
Even you would agree, though, like, his record's not that good when you look at it.
No, and the tricky thing is, you look at it, split decision win over Tom Duquesnoy, you got a split decision win over Brian Caraway, UFC 222, one of the more forgettable cards of all time, and then a loss to Sterling, rather, in the second round.
Awesome.
Alejandro Perez, I mean, Turbo Perez brought it back in his last fight against Johnny Eduardo.
But Perez is pretty old, sort of past his prime. The Song Yadong fight, here's the thing. He did great in the wrestling, but didn't land a single damaging strike. And every time they were on the feet, Song would tee off on him. So we just haven't seen an evolution in Stamann's game. And it's left a lot to be desired. That's all.
You've got what looks to me like, is that Timur Valiev? Looks like Timur Valiev. We'll get a better look at him. But yeah, standing here with Said Nurmagomedov, I mean, fellow bantamweight contenders, up-and-comers, that is Timur Valiev, 100%. So probably some awkward stares behind in the backstage area with him and Raoni Barcelos. Very close fight that they had. Victor is liking Francis. Yeesh. But a big win for the Bengals today. It was.
Yeah. I like Ryan Tannehill a lot. That's not a... Yeah. So I'm sad all the time.
So it is a tricky one, but we get ready for this fight, and I can't wait for it. I mean, you talk about these two guys for Cody Stamann. Who would have thought 2-2-1 in his last 5 for Nurmagomedov? 4-1 going back to when he fought Luis Nogueira 4 years and 3 months ago was his fifth, the last fight. Kind of crazy to think about it that way, Matt. We'll flip it on over to our main view. And if this is the first fight that you've tuned in for on this show, what we will do, we'll get rid of that logo.
Frank Trey, just happy to be here.
Get rid of the logo in the middle. We'll start the timer. We have the opportunity to pause said timer, and in case there's any issues, we can hit play once more. And yeah, if you want to sync up with us, please don't spoil it over in the comment section as we get the run out from the wrestler known as Cody Stamann, a guy who dressed up like he was ready for a Western. However, he is a Michigan man out of Las Vegas. So an interesting choice of garb this week for the man himself, Cody Stamann.
I've never watched Yellowstone.
I did mention Yellowstone in that sentence.
No, I know, but you brought it up in the original video and in the question mark kicks. What is it about? What's the like?
A guy that owns a ranch and his family.
I'll probably never give it a try.
Great analysis in on this fight coming up, but you look at it, for some reason, the promotion just put former Golden Gloves champion is Cody Stamann. Now, I talked about it on Early Stoppage this week. Hear me out on the fact that, yeah, listen, Jake Paul, there was some comments out there. Mike Bond asked Scott Coker, do you think, Jake Paul, would he ever come over to Bellator? Yes, we'd love to have him. Now it seems like the PFL might be making moves.
Eagle FC just put out a post.
And Eagle FC, they'd be interested in getting him. And then John Franklin followed it up with a question saying, who would you favor in a fight, a boxing fight with Aaron Pico and Jake Paul? And I said, well, of course, Jake Paul. And he said, well, Aaron Pico, he was a Golden Gloves champ. But when I look at the Golden Gloves champion lineage, sometimes they kind of pay out a little bit more.
He was almost on the Olympic team, though.
Than others. But yeah, he was there for this wrestling.
But he still trained,
I'm surprised, though, that they would go with that stat as a telling point for Cody Stamann, considering he's not much of a striker.
But they brought it up with... what else are you going to talk about? He wrestles his way to dominant top pressure decisions. You kind of got to grasp at something. We're the only people excited for this fight who had it as fight of the night. There's a very specific way this fight could be entertaining. But if it isn't, it's going to be a lot of Nurmagomedov moving on the outside, a lot of pitter-patter strikes, and Stamann going for failed takedowns, or Stamann gets double-leg takedowns and just kind of holds them.
Wyatt Kenny hanging out saying, man, that's 2 knockouts in a row for Trevin Giles. Yeah, that's rough. Pablo saying, Kazula or Patty, I don't seem to have the highest highs for Kazula Vargas, though he did look good against Rong Zhu, so he does have that going. But, yeah, that's a tricky one. I practiced once with Kazula Vargas. Well, maybe I take back what I said.
There you go. I think it's a pretty good fight for Patty. Like, it's a setup fight for Pimblett to try to get his star bigger. That's all. It's similar to Hallie and Paiva versus... Not Hallie. Yeah, Hallie and Paiva versus Sean O'Malley. Yeah. Like, I know Craig thought, oh, maybe there's a chance. But, like, yeah, Sean O'Malley was going to beat the brakes off him no matter what.
Well, we get set for this fight in the bantamweight division. Theo, I will carry that. And if I ever talk to Cody Stamann, I'll bring it up. Would you go by the nickname of Yellowstone? Michigoni's saying, let's go Stamann. You have to. I mean, Michigan top teams own representing Extreme Couture these days. And listen, we have Francis Ngannou with the gym later on tonight, but Eric Nixick and crew really making moves with the gym. And I mean, if I'm not mistaken, he was our trainer of the year this year, was he not?
He was. He did have a great year. And it's interesting to see the evolution of Francis since he has left Fernand Lopez and gone to Extreme Couture, because he was already a good fighter. But we've seen this a lot. Like, good fighters can be at good gyms, and they just need a change of scenery just to kind of get something new. Because every day at the same gym, you're just going to be doing the same stuff, similar to Usman going to Elevation.
All right, we'll get the timer set for our second fight here on the main card. Saidar Magomedov taking on Cody Stamann. We are split on this one, and Frank Trigg, our referee, a guy who almost made it, like, he made it near the pinnacle of the sport, and man, Saidar Magomedov's coming out swinging.
Yeah, he is. He looks bigger than I thought he would compared to Stamann, which is promising.
Whoa! He lands a spinning back fist, spin kick to the body, and Cody Stamann is just trying to keep up at this point.
Oh yeah, you gotta be alert when you're fighting Saidar Magomedov.
Saidar Magomedov landing a nice right hand there, and he is just winging the kitchen sink at Cody Stamann, who's looking to strike to get the takedown, gets the body lock. Ooh. Now he's on the single leg. Nurmagomedov really doing everything to get out of this one.
Really good defense so far, because normally when Stamann goes for that takedown, he gets it pretty quick.
Oh, man. Stamann getting a whizzer, going for a double leg. Nurmagomedov, guillotine into a Dars.
This is slick.
Is he going to be able to get it? He taps! Wow!
Nurmagomedov with a quick submission victory.
Saidar Nurmagomedov, welcome to almost the rankings?
That was no, he'll be ranked now after that.
Holy smokes. Well, that was fast. He could fight, well, not next weekend, but in 2 weeks from now.
That was insane.
Saidar Nurmagomedov. All right, so Craig Allen, never switch your picks. You would have got 2 right in a row. Instead, I get 2 wrong in a row. Right. But, yeah, an interesting win right there. Wow. What a submission for Saidar Nurmagomedov. Now, the Blue Dash is saying no. That looks tight. Wow. Yeah, that,
beating Mark Striegel doesn't impress me at all, but submitting Cody Stamann impresses me a lot.
That is absolutely insane.
That really was. Really impressive performance by Nurmagomedov. To finish a guy like Cody Stamann is impressive.
So, to give you an example, Saidar Nurmagomedov's last fight was a year and 2 months ago. To come back and fight a guy like Cody Stamann and just finish him in the first, 2 minutes? Like, that is insane that he was able to do that.
It's what? Yeah. That was a tight choke.
Wow. So Cody Stamann too? I mean, who would have thought losing 3 in a row like that?
Probably the guy who predicted against him 3 times in a row.
Yeah, that really is tricky.
He never evolved. Like, you gotta do something different at a certain point, because if you never get any better, there's a lot of tape out on a lot of basic wrestlers. And if you never gain some sort of a stand-up element to your game, it'd be like Pascal Siakam, for instance, has very good post moves, but he had to get a good jump shot to really make himself an all-star. And I know his jump shot's not great this year, but you get the idea. You have to add things to your game, because if you don't, people can game plan for it a lot easier, and you need a lot of variety to your game. And Cody Stamann just doesn't have much variety to his game. That's the problem.
Cody Stamann with another L, and only 3 fights left on this card, and they are moving fast. I mean, 43 minutes in, you've had 2 really quick finishes. Morales getting the knockout win in his fight, and then you have Nurmagomedov here, but yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, Craig, it's kind of nice to do one of these fight companions and us not stay awake till like 3:30 in the morning.
You cross your fingers.
I have been, but 2 first-round finishes is a great way to start the night. Really, and 2 great fights too. And the good thing is now Morales is set up for like great things in the welterweight division. He's probably gonna get another like older guy. I brought up Tim Means' name earlier. That'd be a great matchup at that weight class. And for Nurmagomedov, you would said it, a borderline rank guy. Like for me, he's gonna be like 13 to 15 now probably when the rankings come out. What is it? Wednesday? They always come out on a weird day, but I think he's going to be a ranked fighter.
And I mean, a really good point there from the Blue Dash saying so many performance of the night worthy finishes. You have to wonder where, a higher cap on pay-per-views and, the whole NFT business.
Well, other than the NFTs, it's not like the fighters get any.
So out of the finishes so far, Matt, Demopoulos, Frivola, you've got Jack Della, you've got Morales, and now you have Cody Stamen. It really is tough to try and pick some of them. But, so far, that was a very, very slick submission there from Said Nurmagomedov. And you look at his overall record, again, we touched on it. I mean, Scoggins, Hamosh, and then Striegel. And now all of a sudden you vault right up and you beat Cody Stamen. I mean, the ceiling's back. You're back to fighting more often. Hopefully he's able to kind of stick around in the States because he doesn't have a mark on him and get a fight in soon.
That would be really nice if he could become a lot more active, because that really has been the problem. Like, he's been his own worst enemy in terms of activity, because in the cage, he's been really good. He had that one close fight with Harney Barcelos, but hey, is that the end of the world? I certainly don't think so, especially when you can regroup and look as good as he did tonight. And again, when you fight Mark Striegel, I don't really care if you beat him in under a minute. Like, yeah, it's cool, but we don't really learn a lot about you. And the fact that Said was able to go out there and dominate Cody Stamen, and the brief striking exchanges, we didn't see a lot of it, to be fair, but out-grappling Stamen too was really impressive.
Man, giant win for Said Nurmagomedov in that one. Sportsbet Guru going with, Gane to win. You've got Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Mark Wahlberg's the type of guy who says, like, I could do that.
No, I bet you he could if he put his mind to it. Johnny Knoxville and Chris Pontius and the new people that are on Jackass.
Wow.
I don't know the new Jackass people yet, so I got to get kind of up on that.
And this might, tell you, more than you probably want to know, but, I don't mind the Jackass series.
No, I don't think anybody does.
They're good.
I mean, for a reason, I have a Butterbean glove in the office.
They're fun movies. You're not going to get an education, but you're going to have a good time.
All right, so a really good question before we do move on to this fight, and it was something that I meant to bring up, so I will as we're talking about it, but I'll bring it up on Tapology so we can kind of see who's fighting who in this bantamweight division. But if you're trying to figure out another guy for Said Nurmagomedov, again, Tapology's not going to tell us who's ranked where, but it will tell us who has a fight coming up. Moraes is taking on Song Yadong. You've got Kyler Phillips taking on Marcelo Rojo. Asuncel's lost 4 in a row. You got Ricky Simone. You got Barcelos, who's now lost a couple in a row.
Jack Shore.
Halian Paiva. Jack Shore's got a fight booked with Timur Valiev, a teammate of Said Nurmagomedov.
I think he beats him.
So, I mean, maybe you go, not Hani Yaya. Not Hani. He's won 2 in a row.
He puts Hani in a body bag. Ricky Simone, probably?
Yeah, I think a Ricky Simone fight would make sense.
And Simone's hands looked a lot better his last time out because, unlike Cody Stamen, Ricky Simone has added a new wrinkle to his game. So I do think that'll be a good fight.
Yeah, I'm fine with that one. So, Matt, we will move on to our next fight. We have Michel Pereira taking on Andrea Fialho. And this is a fight that people can get excited about.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I think it's going to go to a second round. But I also thought our last 2 fights would go a little bit longer than they did, and they didn't. So, listen, if the QMK parlay hits tonight and my record is above 500,
if I get this one right, though, I win the week, don't I? No matter what the main event is. Because I'm ahead by 1 right now.
I think so.
So, yeah.
I think so. And I went with a big underdog. But in this
Okay, Craig, you can't be stuck.
But the reason why I went with the big underdog, and I'll follow that one up, is the fact that when you look at Fialho,
Francis is an underdog.
It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of throwing combinations, and if he mixes in the wrestling, that's what makes it interesting. The other thing I will say, we didn't really touch on it all week on any of the shows that we were on, Die Hard MMA podcast or what have you. Michel Pereira has one thing that he's really good at that nobody really mentions. His scrambles. He's really good in the scrambles.
But he gets tired with them. He's good at them, but they work to his detriment. So I don't necessarily look at those as a huge positive. That's all.
Fair enough.
You're right. I'm not disagreeing with you, but you know what I mean. When he scrambles for more than 7 seconds, it might look good, but that's how he gets tired.
Gives you the old Louis Smolka effect of puckering your butthole. It's one of those fights.
Listen, if you want to get fired up for a fight, I probably don't watch a Louis... Well, no, Louis Smolka puts on a pretty good one.
Last fight was fun, not for him.
No, exactly. And that's the problem. It's either kill or be killed.
All right, Matt. Well, we're going into this fight, Pereira taking on Fialho, and there's a lot of people tuning in, and we're going to get a lot of promo packs going on. So we got to punch it up, and we got to have a good time. Now, the Mummy Cats is saying, I like fight doesn't go the distance in this one. And Voodoo's saying, I think Fialho will gas in 2, and Pereira will do a little bit more. I have a hard time seeing that just because Michel Pereira typically slows down as fights go on, and Fialho is able to keep a constant
He won the
output.
third round against Chaos, though.
Yeah, but there wasn't a lot of output. That was
No,
the
you're
only
right.
trouble.
I'm just saying, like, if they did fight at a low output, he landed some body shots early, and then he's able to go up top, it wouldn't be all that surprising.
Yeah, that is weird. Sportsbet Guru saying, how is one guy heavier? I mean, we're on the UFC's website, so it's theirs. But yeah, they got Fialho at 180. That's not right. Both guys came in. Michel Pereira right on the nose at 170. And for Fialho, he came in at 169.5. So a good showing from both guys. Rigatoni saying, what a great card. And it has
Quick
been
turnaround
for
for
sure.
Derek Lewis.
The next UFC pay-per-view offering
That's a good main card.
Adesanya, Whitaker 2, Lewis, Tuivasa, Cannonier, Brunson, Rojo, Phillips on the main card, and then Bobby Green and Nasrat Hakparas. And I saw Nasrat Hakparas getting ready in the background of a few of the videos, getting some of the promo for this card right now, UFC 270. I think Francis Ngannou was getting work done, and yeah, you had Nasrat Hakparas riding the bike, so he's in Vegas.
Is your favorite promo piece of all time when Ian Heinisch was going to fight, who was it? Nasty Imavov. And just, instead of him, like, hitting the bag, they just got this middle-aged guy, like, working about in the bag,
He's
talking
wearing
about his feelings.
Shirt off, wearing jeans. That was a weird look.
Yeah, that was, like, the most bro-science atmosphere I've ever seen in my life.
Just a
Brenton
tricky,
Shows would fit right in.
just a tricky look. And hey, sometimes you give away J Balvin Air Force Ones in your shows. Right?
Sometimes. Sometimes you I don't even know. I don't want to talk about him.
Well, Matt, again, getting ready for this one, 85% of the fans at Fight Night Picks going with Michel Pereira to get the win. He's on a tidy little win streak, too. I mean, he had a couple of tricky ones, one against Tristan Connolly, and then, of course, the one that Diego Sanchez was able to get over him. But Eddie, they made a mistake. Here, you know what? We'll just get rid of the questions because the UFC's website has that. They're not our graphics, and now I don't have Nurmagomedov switched out, so I will do that. But when it comes to this fight here between Fialho and Pereira, we have seen a bit of a different approach from the Brazilian in this fight in his last three. I mean, it started with the Zlim Imadaev fight where he really did start to fight a more cerebral fight. He kind of tamed the wildness, if you want to call it that. And then he goes out there, he takes on KS Williams, a guy who is a devastating knockout puncher from the jump. And in that fight was really able to employ some volume. Again, both guys didn't throw a ton, but when they did, they made it count. And then in his last fight against Nico Price, he did kind of get a little wild again, but it did cause him to lose his third round against Nico Price. Some people had it a 10-8 for Price, but the troubling thing for me against Nico Price, and especially in a fight against Fialho, I mean, not that it really matters, but you did see Pereira, when he's tired, he started to revert back to doing some of those wild things, those big actions, throwing Superman punches, throwing a flying knee from against the cage. Like, he was really doing some of the wild stuff late in that fight against Nico Price. So it is one of those things that if it lands, and it's going to be great. But if it doesn't, a guy who's technically sound can start to tee off on you, which is kind of strange because Nico Price can be technically sound, but usually he's pretty wild too.
We're talking like Andre Fialho's, like, Calvin Kattar, right? Like, he's Max Holloway. Like, let's pump the brakes a little bit on his striking. He is a good striker when he moves forward, and I do think he will have the power edge on the inside exchanges in this fight, but I don't think he's just going to be able to make Pereira pay for it the second he does get on the inside. And the thing is, Nico Price was able to eat some big fight-ending shots in that fight against Michel, and he was able to stand up against, like, Vicente Luque's power for 2 rounds in both of their matchups. So I think his level of durability is almost on another level for most guys. So I think if we see a similar Pereira, he's probably going to end with a finish win.
So it is kind of crazy. It's always funny to me when I look at fighters that have experience outside of the UFC with bigger promotions, because for Andrea Fialho, he was one of those guys that was a Bellator guy. He made his debut at 21 years of age. He was able to get wins over Manny Moraz, Rick Rager, loses to Chidi and Joe Kawani, which is, even at that time, it didn't really matter. And Chidi, to me, was a surprise guy that ended up on Contender Series, like Albert Duraev was, where you go, geez, those guys have a lot of experience. Like, you'd think you'd just get signed. So he loses to Chidi in 21 seconds, beats AJ Matthews, who's just a guy who was down to fight anybody over there, beats Javier Torres, and then ends up in the PFL in, 2019, loses to Curtis, loses to, or has the no contest against Gleico França that was a bit of an oddball, loses to Antonio Santos, Dos Santos Jr., and then gets the wins over James Vick, Song Hoon Yo, Lincoln Puig, and Stefan Seklich. So a very, very interesting road to the UFC for Andrea Fialho. They show that he's on a 4-fight win streak. finished 12 of 14 fights and 10 first-round finishes. But when he does decide to conserve his gas tank, he can have some good success. I think this one's great. Pablo's talking about Glover Teixeira, Yuri Prochazka.
What a fun fight.
What an amazing fight.
Because they're so different. Like, Yuri does everything wrong, but he makes it right because of how athletic he is. And Glover is very by the book. Nothing Glover does stands out and makes you think, oh, I couldn't do that. Like, it's left hook, it's right straights, it's all very basic stuff. But Glover's game is kind of like Tim Duncan. He's the big fundamental, where if you're really good at the fundamentals, you don't have to be flashy if you're that effective. And he has such heavy hands on the inside that when he hurts guys, gets them to the ground, there's not much they can do. And it's weird. Like, there's not a lot of great submission specialists in the upper weight classes right now. Like, Fabricio Verdum for the longest time was sort of that threat at the heavyweight division. And there isn't one right now that I can think of. And other than Paul Craig, Glover Teixeira kind of is that jiu-jitsu threat in the division.
Is he retired or will he take another fight? That's kind of crazy too.
It is, because he's been on such a roll lately. But with Glover, for me, it'll be such an interesting fight because Prochazka cannot grapple with Glover at all. He will get dominated and beat into the ground, and it's going to be hard to watch. But he's so much faster than Glover on the feet that he could hit him with a spinning elbow into an overhand, do something wild.
And I missed the email because I'm not checking my email during the show, but I did get an email from UFC Corporate Communications. 10th Annual UFC International Fight Week takes over Vegas from June 27th to July 3rd. So that will be a fun one. Week-long celebration includes UFC 276, the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, amateur tournaments, and a 2-day interactive fan experience. So I'm sure we're going to see that on the broadcast as well as we get set for Michel Pereira, who's taking on Andrea Fialho, the UFC newcomer, getting a tough test too. And we saw that with Morales taking on Giles on the main card.
And he passed with flying colors, so, I mean, for your sake, hopefully Fialho is able to, but this is going to be a very interesting fight because the best version of Pereira is probably a borderline top 15 guy, if we're all being honest. But the problem is, we've seen massive holes in his armor, so let's say he does get tired and get knocked out. That's probably the end of the line for a guy who is a little bit older in his career because it does feel like he has to go on a run relatively soon. Like, he can't sort of have 2 more years in limbo of just being an action fighter and then try to go on a title run. He's going to get things going now.
Igor Ramos, or is it Ramos? Apologies. Have we ever been to Brazil? Ever interviewed any Brazilian fighters? I interviewed, who was it? Patricio Pitbull in the past? I've emailed a few different Pitbull adjacent fighters as well. Were you able to interview any Brazilian fighters with Bellator?
I don't think so. I'd love to go. Looks like a very nice country.
Oh, yeah. It looks like it'd be a great time as long as they're all right with Canadians.
I don't think there's a lot of places in the world that they're
China.
Like,
China doesn't like Canadians.
But hey, I don't feel that bad if I never have to go.
Well, that much has been said this week. It was out there in the news, but Michel Pereira and Andrea Fialho, a couple of strikers if we've ever seen them.
But they're very different in the way they do it. With Fialho, he is going to have to get close to really be effective with his strikes. Whereas with Pereira, he uses a lot more of the footwork and the kicks on the outside. So I think Pereira is going to be able to start landing those damaging shots early on. And the thing I like about him is he will throw a knee up the middle quite a bit. And Cowboy did this to the best of anyone's abilities ever when he fought Eddie Alvarez. It was so impressive back then. I don't know why he didn't continue doing it throughout his career. Dan Hooker does it to a certain degree, but a check knee up the middle when guys are moving forward on you is a great way to stop their forward pressure, and Pereira's really good at setting up his other strikes based off of that knee, so I think he'll have a lot of success doing that. But again, this is going to be like a very action-packed fight.
Oh, 100%, especially when it comes to a fight like this. And I mean, for me, to answer Rob Lawrence's comment there, Lady Luck, I'm more like Sammy from the episode of Characters with Tim Robinson at the end of the sketch. Lady Luck has not been on my side tonight, but we get set for Pereira and Andrea Fialho. I need to see this one going to the second round between these two bangers at 170. You can see the weigh-in right there, 174 Pereira, 169.54 Fialho. And Bruce Buffer breaking out the gold blazer. It's a bold
good.
Look.
He just doesn't age.
Going with the same color pocket square, too. I like that.
Do you think a stylist gets like 80% of his paycheck? Like Bruce Buffer, his day-to-day life is just like you and me, but he spends all of his money on the fashion.
Pablo saying Fialho is going to bed early tonight.
I think he will.
He is a mean son of a gun, if I know anything about him. And he's definitely here to bang, as they say. Michel Pereira is walking all the way around the cage.
Party.
He's having a great time getting ready for his next trip out. Now, he had an amazing debut against Hot Chocolate Danny Roberts. And after that, I mean, it's just been a whirlwind for Michel Pereira. He's, 4-2 in the UFC. He's got 2 no contests. He's thrown some moonsaults, some of them illegal, some of them not illegal. We'll see what happens tonight.
How many moonsaults have you thrown in a UFC cage, Craig?
None. Voodoo, what was the bet? Does it end in the second? No, I just need it to go to the second round. Just need it to go to the second round. That's all I need. And I'm going to be nervous from minute 1 to minute 5. But we get set here for Fialho and Michel Pereira. A couple of guys that speak Portuguese from 2 different countries. This should be a good one. And you look at the gyms. I mean, Matt, Overcome Academy for Michel Pereira. You get Sanford MMA repping with Andrea Fialho, who comes out quick, starting to throw combinations.
And that's what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to pressure a lot in this fight to really close that distance, start landing with his hands.
And, spinning kick there from Fialho.
Wow.
Almost gets himself caught.
I mean, call an ambulance, but not for me. Andre Fialho, wild moves.
Ian Toomey was able to get that Bruce Buffer call out. That must have been a cool one.
That is neat.
30 seconds into this fight, Matt, and it's Fialho really trying to bring the pressure. Michel Pereira trying to figure out his distance and picking his shots.
Doing a good job keeping distance, though. That's really the key early on.
And Michel Pereira is one of those guys, you know it with capoeira, you know it when he's dancing on the treadmill. It is the constant movement, and he does try and land his big-time shot there.
I only think one shot in that flurry landed, but he's giving Fialho a lot of looks early.
That much is true. He's really throwing a lot of feints out there too, upper body and lower body, to go along with the footwork. Now, a lot of movement can tire you out, especially with the big actions, but so far it's looked great for Pereira.
Pereira does do a very basketball move where he does like the false step backwards. Like, it is, you do that trying to like get your defender off balance. It's a strange thing to see in MMA. It's not used very often.
Nice kick straight up the middle there for Pereira. I think that was able to hit the breadbasket.
And he's landed quite a few of those kicks up the middle. Very Tony Ferguson-esque with his front kick.
Minute and a half into our first round. Another attempt at that kick. You have to watch out for the cup though.
You do, but you can definitely tell the difference between both guys' game plans. Pereira's much more comfortable at kicking range, where Fialho wants to get it in boxing range.
Fialho's got him backed up behind the black lines.
Ooh, landed a big jab. That might have stunned Pereira.
The old power jab, the old Trevin Giles. He wasn't able to get it going, though he did knock down Morales, but a good job there from Fialho to kind of try and slow the movement of his opponent.
Yeah, he split his timing really nice with that shot.
Another nice jab lands there for Fialho.
That's the thing, Pereira. Got to keep it a kickboxing range if he wants to have success.
Fialho continuing to motion forward. Pereira, the one thing that I don't understand, nice right hand lands for Pereira.
Yeah, that was good.
The one thing that's kind of funny, he always has such an awareness of the cage to where he can throw those explosive movements when he's backed up so much.
It's a weird thing that he is thinking about at all times, and he is one of the more effective cage users, if you will, in MMA, but it does work out for him for the most part.
Really good job there, landing to the legs. Like nice jab lands for Fialho.
And again, when he's getting into boxing range, he's having a lot of success with his jab, setting up his right hand. But when Pereira can lunge in with those big strikes, that's when he's having success.
That kick blocked. Another kick blocked there. So Fialho's starting to feel those out.
Yeah, Fialho looking good.
The only trouble is, once you start to... Ooh, nice shots landing for Fialho.
Again, when he's getting it on the inside, he's able to land with a lot of power.
We have a heck of a fight going on here right now at welterweight between these two guys. Another one lands. Hook. Fialho really kind of figuring this one out and doing a great job of bringing his hands down and back up is the Portuguese fighter.
Yeah, Pereira's got to get some respect on the feet.
Pereira's starting to get hit here more and more. Joe's saying thanks, boys.
Thank you, Joe.
Minute 43 remaining in our first round. Fialho really pressuring well in this one.
Yeah, he is. Definitely his round so far.
Pereira really trying to think of what that next move is going to be. Continues to circle away to his right-hand side. Flying knee. May be able to land a glancing right hand in that.
But still, that's a lot of energy to waste for just a glancing shot.
Andrea Fialho continuing to pressure forward, trying to pop that jab out there.
What he's got to do.
Doing a good job of defending well. Minute 15 remaining in the first round. Nice kick.
Pereira is landing some good body kicks this round.
Pablo saying nice knee. But a minute remaining here. Big time right hand. The left landed for Fialho, and Pereira going for the takedown.
Yeah, he's just got to find a way to get the pressure off him.
If you had Michel Pereira going for a takedown attempt on your bingo card, you let us know over there in the comments section.
Is it that surprise?
50 seconds remain in our first round. You get a bit of a cup check there. You're calling your own. Mike Beltran going to let it go. Voodoo saying Pereira's nose busted. might hinder his cardio. Big time right hand for Pereira.
Fialho definitely winning this round, but you still feel like both guys just one shot away from winning.
It's been a lot of fun here. 30 seconds remaining. I'm as nervous as a person gets. Ooh, big time duck there from Pereira. That was really good defense and a slip. Not a knockdown there.
No, went for that knee.
Now can Fialho get on top? He's landing some good shots here. 14 seconds left. Nice elbow. You saw him finish Stefan Sekulic with that in his last fight. Fialho on top. He is going to try and do whatever he can. Nice hammer fist. Looking like Brock Lesnar here. 2 seconds remaining. 1 second. There we go. First leg of the question mark
Great
kicks
round.
parlay hits. We're into our second round. Shabazz is saying Fialho champion. I don't know yet, but he definitely had a good round there. 10-9 for our Portuguese fighter here.
Yeah, he ate some big shots and just kept on walking forward. It was a really impressive round. He made Pereira pay for a lot of that movement on the outside.
This has been a fun one so far between these two guys.
It definitely has been, but Pereira needs to get respect on the feet and especially up close. Like, the body kicks are good when there's not much happening at range, but when they're up close, it's just all Fialho with the boxing.
We're getting to see Michel Pereira getting worked on in the corner, and I'm eager to see what that nose looks like because they were pretty quick to getting on top of it.
It looks pretty busted.
Getting some highlights here. Both guys able to land. That power jab, though, really sending Pereira back.
It wasn't a power. It was just a jab.
Step into it. Now, here we go, Matt. So we're getting ready for a second round here, and it really is an interesting one because we've seen Michel Pereira tested a little bit on the feet in the past, but usually it's not that early in his fights.
Well, yeah, normally it gets worse as it goes on. So if he loses the first one, I doubt he's going to look better as the fight goes on. But again, he landed some big power shots in that first round. So it's not like he's completely out of it just yet, but it's not trending in his direction.
All right, Matt. So we get set here. Fialho continuing to pressure, and a nice right hand lands there for Pereira, and it looked like a nice jab got through too.
Fialho pressuring hard, though.
Fialho really landed well on that left hand. He's doing a lot of work. And the big thing with Fialho, he'll land the jab, and then at his next shot, he can follow it up with a left hook, and it really confuses a lot of his opponents.
Yeah, Pereira's he's reacting too much in the back foot. He's not the one leading the dance. He's reacting to what Fialho's bringing to him.
Good leg kick there from Pereira about 30 seconds into our second round. And Pereira really trying to move it around with his body movement. Nice right hand.
He needed that. He needs more of that, though. He can't just land the big shot and then go back to doing the silly stuff on the outside.
Ooh,
that was two big right hands.
Flying knee from Pereira.
He's his own worst enemy, though.
Oh, Fialho's hurt.
Yeah, those were big shots. He is hurt bad.
Knee to the body from Pereira that lands.
These have been some big shots from Michel.
Fialho looking to clinch up. He's looking to hold on for as long as he can. A nice knee. Big time right on the break for Fialho. Nice hook there from Fialho.
But he is hurt from those shots.
Now Fialho's pressuring forward. Michel's feeling it. Kick to the breadbasket. That hurt.
That did. Yeah, that's really taking it
Flying,
out. Wow.
Rolling
Pereira's
thunder.
feeling it. He is a wild man. I couldn't imagine being like this, like LaMelo Ball throwing that between the legs alley-oop when he's only up by one.
Michel Pereira is now feeling it, and if you're Andrea Fialho, the wind's out of your sails from that first round.
That was a big right hand by Michel, too. Wow. A big comeback from him, too. And not a guy who's known for making big comebacks in his fights. Normally, it goes off of a cliff, and that's it.
Michel Pereira really looking to bring it. Oh, he eats a left
Left hook.
Oh, he eats another left hook.
This has been a great fight so far.
Andrea Fialho is now pressuring forward. We have got ourselves a fight. I mean, Voodoo saying, man, these fights tonight, they've been insane.
They really have been. This one might be the best one yet, too.
Fialho pushing him back.
2 championship fights after this, too.
Just a big time push forward from Pereira. Now he's landing
Good
combinations.
combo from Pereira. That was big.
Fialho looks a little stunned here. Oh, he lands a left hook.
Good left hook to the body. He's landing some big shots. And he looked done at the end of the first round.
Flying knee attempt there from Pereira. Knee to the body. Fialho looking to kind of try and do anything. He's eating a lot of shots. Ooh, he's throwing his own body shots.
He is, but he might be hurt to his own body.
Another body shot there from Fialho.
This has been
Eddie's saying Fialho's slowing up. I don't know how you couldn't slow up.
Exactly. Both these guys have pushed quite the pace.
Halfway through our second round here, and Pereira really turning the heat up.
Pereira is like Kyle Kuzma. You think he's all show, but he's actually all go when it comes down to it.
Now you've got Pereira really trying to pressure the action, backing off from the grappling.
He's had success with the range. We'll see what happens.
Have to see how those hands fare for Fialho in defense.
You wonder how many more big right hands Fialho can walk into.
Spinning kick from Pereira that misses. And that's always the trouble. As the blood starts to trickle from Fialho.
Just laying that right hand. That left eye is quite damaged to Fialho.
Ooh, nice jab lands for Fialho.
He need a left hand for it, though.
Fialho pressures. You have to expect a big action here from Pereira.
I expect something big from Fialho. He's got to get this round back. He's down bad.
Nice kick to the body. Michel's feeling it.
He has been.
The treadmill. Ooh, he lands a Superman punch.
Every Michel Pereira fight's just 50-50.
Oh, Fialho lands a good 2-punch combo there, and he breaks.
He's eating a lot of shots to the body, though, hasn't he? Both guys are eating a lot of damage.
Fialho now with a high guard. Minute 15 remaining in this round.
I have no idea who's winning this fight, by the way.
Easy. I mean, it's one round apiece if it ended right now, but Pereira really starting to put it on. But a minute remaining here in our second round. These two guys are absolutely having a fight.
Really nice showing. Ooh, good right hand for Pereira. He's starting to chain his strikes together a lot better now, setting one up with the other.
Not a lot of single shots. Fialho doing a decent job of the defense. As I say that, he eats a couple of leg kicks for his troubles. About 45 seconds. Nice right hand lands for Pereira.
Great second round so far.
Fialho starting to breathe a little heavier. The mouth's open.
He is. But again, I'm surprised both guys haven't just slowed to a halt. Like, they fought at a Kimbo sliced out at 5,000 type of a pace, so surprised either man's standing. Fialho might
Fialho lands a really nice hook right there and an uppercut.
He does. Still eating big shots, though. Good takedown for Pereira. Wow.
Really weird takedown there, but he's able to get it with about 15 seconds remaining in the second round. So let's.
But the good thing about that was for Pereira, it didn't cost much energy to get it because he didn't really go for much. And Fialho's arms are going to be burned out a little bit from trying to get back up to his feet.
Well, Matt, we get to the end of our second round, Pereira and Fialho, and we've had a great one so far. I mean, through two, we get the total number of strikes. Pereira is definitely up in terms of overall strikes. Fialho with the first round, so tied 1-1 after two?
I would say, but again, both guys have landed some massive fight-ending type shots, so one big punch could end it either way. Like, let's say Fialho lands a big body hook and Pereira goes down. I wouldn't be surprised at all, and same thing vice versa.
Fialho getting that corner instruction there from Henry Hooft.
Those step-in right hands from Michel, though, have been really effective, especially that second round. He does a lot of kind of unnecessary footwork on the outside, but when he does get back to sort of the bare bones of his game and step in with the right straight, it's super effective.
Yeah, this has been an absolutely amazing one. 142 tuned in. Toss a like if you can, and we'll do our best on this one. VT saying it is 1-1. Pablo saying, yeah, 1-1. Pereira has the momentum. Looks like the cutman did a good job and took about a gob of Vaseline on his eyebrow.
Yeah, that's a lot.
We get set for our third round. Michel's nose looks like it's busted.
It does. Again, both guys have eaten some fight-ending shots.
These two guys here are ready for one as we get set for a third round. Mike Beltran, referee. Get back, but don't, as I hit the wrong button, and now we get the timer.
Respectful, man.
And it turned out at the right time. Fialho looking to pressure. He's got to get it behind the black line. He knows this. He doesn't have to listen to a Canadian on the internet. Lands a nice jab. Nice left hand lands for Pereira.
Pereira's footwork still looks pretty good, even though he has looked a little tired. Like, this has been as good as his cardio's looked in the UFC, I'd say.
Going to the body and then up to the head is Pereira. And it looks like everybody over there on Twitter saying, you know...
Good leg kick.
10-9, 10-9. JHK giving it a 10-8 for Pereira in the second.
Fair enough. I don't think I'd go that far personally, but he definitely won the round.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of funny, you know, you look at the judges so far this year, and last weekend, 10-8s, you thought there were going to be a few, and they just decided against it.
Yeah, it's a tough job.
Fialho lands a nice jab there as you get a kick.
Yeah, Pereira can't just throw naked kicks on the outside. That's when Fialho's going to time him and land one of those big shots of his own.
Fialho's really starting to string things together here. Minute in.
Big right hand for Pereira. That's what he's going to do more of. Those shots are big.
Now you've got Pereira starting to land a few more shots, more than just the one. You saw the combinations in the second round.
But those have been great body kicks. Like those teeth, I know we talk about, you got to worry about the cup check, but he has had great accuracy with that kick so far.
Andrea Fialho looking to still pressure forward.
Good left hook from Pereira on the back foot. That was nice with his back up against the cage.
Fialho's got to start to string together a little bit of power here, minute and a half into our third round.
And that's been the difference between him in the third round and the first round. The pressure's still there. It's just the output isn't the same.
No, and I mean, with
Good left hook
Pereira,
from Pereira.
he's landed a lot of decent volume here in this third round, and that's really the thing that's winning as he's on the back foot.
And I must say, I'm fairly impressed with Pereira's cardio. Like, I didn't expect him to be able to fight with this kind of output and this kind of a gritty fight and still look this okay in the third round.
Weird takedown attempt there from Pereira, and Fialho stumbles, but he's back up to his feet. He lands a nice right hand.
It's making him think.
Now he's starting to land. Big uppercut.
Big right hand for it, though.
Fialho continuing to pressure forward. 2:55 remaining in our third round.
But he's not doing a lot with the forward movement. He'll kind of move forward, he'll eat one shot, try to respond with a couple, and then just kind of reset.
Pereira with his back up against the cage. You got Fialho looking to pressure, and this is the opportunity for him as we get to see the total number of strikes. And those, a little telling. I mean, obviously, Pereira's been the one throwing the kicks. Fialho, not really a part of his game, so you're not going to see it, but the volume game has been there for Pereira, and he really pulled out ahead in the second round.
And the numbers are pretty surprising, too. Like, 4 significant strikes to the body to 28 for Pereira. Like, that's a significant difference. And I do think that has a big part to play in the cardio that we see out of Fialho, because it's not like he has bad cardio by any means, but he's definitely slowed down due to the body attacks of Pereira.
Nice left hand landed
Big
for
right hand.
Pereira. He's following it up.
Looking good in the third round. Again, for a guy who has a lot of question marks about his cardio, him even looking average at this point in the fight is somewhat surprising.
These guys are
he might have stumbled.
absolutely slugging away. Both guys land good shots.
May have stumbled Fialho there with one of those hooks. That was a fight ender if he landed it.
Big time explosions here from Pereira. You know you're going to get them in the third round.
Oh, yeah. Not somebody who really sits on a lead in his fight.
Nice shot there from Fialho.
Just an absolutely wild fight so far between these guys.
Minute 36 remaining. Fialho looking to push a pace. Second round close. You get the volume of Pereira, though. He's pulled out ahead.
But this is a weird round to judge, because if you have one guy moving forward a lot, the judges do like to respect that.
Closing in on the final minute here. It really could be anybody's fight. Big right hand lands.
That was a big left hook. Pereira's starting to get a little wild now with only, 70 seconds left.
Minute 5 remaining in the third round. These two guys are still throwing down.
Great fight between these two.
Just trading punches. All right, here we go. Less than a minute. This fight is like splitting hairs, and Michel Pereira decides to blow his nose.
Yeah, his nose has definitely been bothering him.
Whoa!
He's hurt. 50 seconds left. He's
That
hurt
left
and
hand
tired.
landed for Fialho.
He's going to need more of that. Both guys throwing big shots with 40 seconds left in the round.
40 seconds left. Pereira starting to walk out of the pocket.
Doing a good job defensively, though, moving. He has eaten a couple shots, but...
Ooh.
I was
Another
gonna
one
say
lands
that.
for Fialho. Good body kick. Ooh, that one's... Now we got to
no.
pause it.
30 seconds, gets cup checked.
That's not a good one now.
I don't think it was his fault. He threw that kick a lot tonight. He didn't land to the cup many times, if at all. No, did that one hit him clear in the cup?
Grazed
Yeah.
it. Grazed it.
It's clean. That would hurt.
No, yeah. That's not good.
That would hurt very bad.
Yeah, that's not good. Could we be en route to, and we saw this,
Technical decision.
Daniel Omalanchuk against Georges Dano. We had a
It
technical
happened.
decision in the third round of that fight. Could we get a technical decision in this fight due to a cup check? Could we lose a point as Andrea Fialho stands up and goes back down and shakes it out?
Taylor Swift sang a song about this.
Oh,
I think.
he gets the hang loose. He's all right.
Shake it off. Shake it off. Off.
All right, we're going to start that clock up again. Here we go. Again, anybody's round in this one.
It could be. Pereira, if he did it on purpose, I wouldn't blame him.
Pereira running away. Fialho looking to pour it on. A little bit of a surprise to me that Pereira would run away from the action because it's been a close round.
It has been a close round. Again, this is a tough one to score. Personally, I do think Pereira did.
Whoa! 6
Oh,
seconds
he landed
left.
some good shots right there.
Both guys are landing. 3 seconds left. They're swinging.
I think Pereira might have got it. I think it's 29-28, but I think it'll be a split decision.
I've got a 29-28 Fialho,
Well,
and
of
this
course
is the
you do,
reason
Craig.
why. This is the reason why. The two power shots that really, really scored and looked like they stunned were for Fialho in the third round.
I think Pereira did a lot more at the first half of the round, and I think at the end of the round with that flurry, he responded to whatever damaging shots Fialho hit him with at the end. You're right. There was minute 3 until 2 was all Fialho, but I think the first part of the round was Pereira, and I think the last fury was Pereira as well.
That's going to be an interesting one once we get the scorecards, but that was a heck of a fight.
That was a really, really good fight, and I did not expect that whatsoever. I thought that was going to be inside the distance personally, but I gotta be honest, I was impressed with Pereira's cardio in that fight. I know he got tired near the end, but that's kind of what you expect anyways, but Fiala looked good. He was tougher than a $2 steak. Lesser men would go down from a lot of those shots, so it was nice to see him be able to withstand the power shots of Pereira.
Looking like the 29-28s Pereiras are flying in. VT saying 29-28 Fialho. But regardless, it was a close fight. Obviously, you see the total strike numbers there and definitely favoring Michel Pereira. I mean, you look at it that second round, he was all over it with some great volume in that one.
He was really chaining everything together really well in that second round. In the third, of course, he did fade a little bit, but both guys landed some massive shots there in the third round.
Getting to see some of those final highlights as we await the decision between these two guys. And kind of crazy to think, too, after this, I mean, 2 title fights.
Exactly. Like, it just keeps on getting better and better. We don't slow down.
Doesn't matter, really, who gets the win. I mean, the QMK parlay is alive. They're going to give you those significant strike numbers after the end of that fight. Michel Pereira, as you can see, 125-54 are the numbers. And really impressive, especially, you know, having spent a lot of that fight on the back foot, too.
Oh, without a doubt. Like, it's really hard to move backward. Like, could you imagine running a marathon backwards? It's hard to do forwards. Couldn't imagine doing it backwards. So, that's always what I go back to. Again, great fight no matter who won. That was a really, really fun one to watch.
Bruce Buffer giving us the decision. All 3 judges must have been 29-28. Michel Pereira with the win. And, yeah, Michel Pereira, that's 4 straight. And when you look at it for Michel Pereira, you look at it for this division. Obviously, he was supposed to get a ranked fighter in this fight. He was supposed to be taking on Muslim Salikov. Unfortunately, Salikov out of that fight. I mean, you look at the overall way that this division really stacks up in the UFC, and you look at the guys ahead of him.
I know exactly who I wanted to fight next.
I mean, you got Santiago Ponzinibbio off a loss. Daniel Rodriguez would be a fun fight. It all depends on when the hand heals up. Li Jingliang, Jeff Neal coming off a big win. Hamzat Chimaev, Michael Chiesa on a 2-fight losing streak.
Outside the box idea. Kelvin Gastelum wants to move back down to welterweight, and that's what he's been talking about lately, and he's on a big losing streak, and at some point, he can't keep on fighting ranked fighters. And honestly, if he did move back down to 170, I think it could be a fun fight. That's all. It'll never happen, but if he does move down to 170, I think that'd be a fun matchup.
Fun fight indeed as we get set for the final of
Li
our last
Jingliang
2.
would also be very good.
And Michel Pereira getting his opportunity here. So, again, yeah, there are a lot of fun fights, you know, moving forward, especially for a guy like Pereira. But would a fight against a guy like Jeff Neal make sense?
I think Jeff Neal's too high up in the rankings, personally, especially coming off a win against Ponzinibbio. That's why, for me, I think he might fight Ponzinibbio. He could fight... I guess Neil Magny's fighting somebody outside the rankings I saw. Doesn't matter. But I think he should fight like a Robbie Lawler next, maybe Tim Means. Like, I still think Pereira needs a little bit more refining. And again, we said he does need to go on a run sooner rather than later because of his age. But this fight didn't make me think that Michel Pereira is ready to go on some kind of title run. Like, if he fought Tim Means next, I gotta be honest, I'd probably pick Tim Means in the prediction video.
I mean, you look at it right there. Igor saying Pereira versus Chiesa. I think that one would be fine.
I just think...
George H. Barnum saying Brandon's not hungry anymore. He will get knocked out. George knows something that we don't, maybe. Yes. But, yeah, a big-time win for Michel Pereira on a main card of a pay-per-view. Are there still pay-per-view points? I don't know, but...
I'm not a lawyer.
A heck of a fight between those 2 guys. I don't think you need to be to know that. But when it comes up to our next fight, Matt,
it's in their contracts.
Brandon Moreno taking on Devison Figueiredo. And you look at these 2 guys. I mean, Devison Figueiredo, the fight against UC Formiga, the big talking point was the weight. It was always the weight.
I get to pat myself on the back for this, because I said every time Devison Figueiredo stepped on the scale until the Benavidez fight that it's going to be a big issue for him, and then you have to watch out for him missing weight, and eventually it did happen, but he's looked great this week, and if there was one fight that I was going to change my prediction on this week, it was going to be this one, especially after seeing how good Figueiredo's looked leading up to fight night.
There's the champion with a guy who Michel Pereira could fight next.
With a guy who got really drunk and kind of wrestled with a security guard when she won the title. I wasn't there. Dana White was, though, and he told a story.
So, Matt, when we do look at this fight, Larry Love saying, how about that Victor Henry? Wow.
Did not call that.
Didn't call it, no, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with Victor Henry having the performance of his lifetime. He looked great against Raoni Barcelos, so you'll eat crow or humble pie on that one because, Victor Henry looked amazing in that fight.
He did, but it's always nice to see a contender, or not a contender, but a UFC newcomer rise to the occasion, actually look good, not just kind of beat an older fighter, because Barcelo still looked good. It's not like he fell off some cliff. He was still a really competitive fighter in that one, so I think Victor Henry just added himself to a very exciting division.
So a big time opportunity here for Deiveson Figueiredo to get the belt back, and we kind of talked about it. I mean, if Brandon Moreno wins this fight, he's 2-0-1 against Deiveson Figueiredo, but if Figueiredo wins, I have to think that they might move away from a fourth fight just because you have so many big-time contenders moving up the ranks at 125. The Pantoja that's been there. Askar Askarov that's there. You've got Kai Kara-France just beating a former champion, Cody Garbrandt. Like, there are some big-time... I mean, even Brandon Royval's win last weekend. Like, you have some big-time names in this division, but for Brandon Moreno, an opportunity at 28 to make another statement, and he had that big-time finish in the third round of his last fight. I mean, I can't wait for this fight because... with these two guys, I mean, yes, you have Brandon Moreno that's the younger fighter. You have these two guys that you can say, I mean, they do a lot of things similarly well. They both strike well. They both grapple well, but they do it in two totally different ways.
Exactly. Figueiredo is power personified, whereas Brandon Moreno plays the long game. And Moreno can get finishes, don't get me wrong, but his whole game is based off his speed with his boxing, his tremendous cardio, and just his wicked work rate. Like, it's very hard to go out there and outwork Brandon Moreno if you're not able to damage him in the fight. Now, Sergio Pettis was just able to keep the fight at range, really outpoint him a lot in their main event matchup. And when he fought Pantoja both times, every time Moreno would get on the inside, Pantoja would make him pay with power. And it's interesting because Pantoja and Figueiredo are very similar fighters. I know they fought. It was a very competitive fight too. It was a very good fight. But Pantoja to me is slightly more technical than Figueiredo, like by 10%, but he's got 15% less power. And that's sort of where he found his niche to beat Brandon Moreno, where I do think the speed is just a little bit too much for Figueiredo to make up the difference, and especially in this matchup, because the comparison I've been making with Figueiredo is that he's still good. He's still an all-star, but he's like Dirk Nowitzki in his 13th all-star game and not in his 5th. Like, he was good in 2013, but he won MVP in 2007, and he won Finals MVP in 2011. Like, age catches up to everybody, and in MMA, you get older the more you do it. Like, the crazier fights you have and the more wars you go through, the bigger toll that takes on your body. With Figueiredo, we saw him get dropped in his last matchup. We saw him take a lot of damage, especially on his title run. So I think we are starting to see a diminished product with Deiveson Figueiredo.
I don't know. I mean, he's going to have a perfect opportunity to either prove that right or prove it completely wrong. And I mean, it is one of those things. I mean, age catches up to you eventually at 125, 135, definitely more than the heavier weight classes. So I want to hear from everybody over there in the comments section. Let us know who you have in this next one. Scott Bazemore saying, Figueiredo, Scott, are you related to Kent? He's the guy who got paid in the NBA. Paid, and now he's a role player. So when I look at this one, Matt, I mean, Moreno-Figueiredo, iteration number 3, it is a very interesting spot. Matt, when we look at the lineup kind of coming up for the UFC moving forward, obviously Bellator has that big card coming up at the end of January. Moldavsky taking on Ryan Bader. They're moving into their Grand Prix, and I can't wait for that. I think Raufeon Stotts is going to have a good time in that one. A little bit of taco meat. Got to show the taco meat. But when you look at the slate of fights coming up, I mean, it doesn't get any worse. I mean, you got Hermanson Strickland is the next fight night a couple weeks from now. You got Adesanya Whitaker. You got Dos Anjos Fiziev. Those guys wanted each other. You got Dariush Makhachev. They want each other. And then you've got Covington Masvidal. You think they don't want to fight each other? Like, there's a lot of really good main events coming up. But you talk about the title fights, Figueiredo, Moreno. Sometimes trilogies, you get them like too soon. Sometimes you get trilogies way off. Like, think about the third time that who was it? Vanderlei Silva fought Rampage Jackson.
Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz is the example.
Or that one. But coming up on this one, Matt, I mean, Brandon Moreno, Deiveson Figueiredo, I think it's going to be a great one. And yeah, I do want to hear from some more people. I mean, Pablo's saying my countryman Brandon. But yeah, I think it's going to be a great one.
What do you think the over-under is for Joe Rogan saying Brandon Moreno dropped Deiveson Figueiredo with a jab in their last matchup? 5.5?
I don't know.
Over-under?
I don't know. I can't hear him.
Okay, Craig, have fun for once in your life. I really do think Brandon Moreno's got the edge on him, though. I think the speed advantage is just something that you can't make up for. And in your older age, you don't normally get faster. Like, Deiveson Figueiredo is always going to have his immense power, but he's probably not going to get any faster. And it'll be interesting. If he can't hurt Brandon Moreno, what is his game plan going to be? He can strike with volume, but I think he's going to have a hard time striking with volume with Moreno in those later rounds.
And it will be neat because obviously the big camp change is from Deiveson Figueiredo. He's made the move to Fight Ready. You already saw Fight Ready getting a big win earlier on tonight's card. You had Vanessa Demopoulos getting the win over Silvana Gomez-Juarez, who decided, hey, I'm a striker. I'll get a knockdown, and then I'll play Vanessa's game for a little bit. And it did not work for her.
Well, she also just was awful at defending that armbar. She did everything wrong.
Yeah, no, it was definitely the wrong move. But when you look at a fight like this, again, for Figueiredo making that giant camp change, working with Cejudo, a guy who all of a sudden has attracted John Jones, Yuri Prochazka's going to train there, like it's kind of crazy. And I wouldn't necessarily call it, like, it's not Cejudo's camp because it doesn't give thanks to the two guys up at the top. And you heard Demopoulos, she threw the praise out there. She said, I heard Santino DeFranco say this. I heard Eddie Cha echo it. I knew exactly what I needed to do in that moment. And those guys really deserve a lot of the shine. But Henry Cejudo can be the puppet master of the face over there. And he's done a great job of it.
The way I look at it is, do you think it ever hurts to have Henry Cejudo in a room where you're training MMA? Never. Ever.
Unless he's just a chatterbox.
Even if, like, the knowledge that guy had, like, he's forgot more about martial arts than any of us will ever know. That's how well-versed he is in MMA. He's an Olympic caliber wrestler who developed a really high-level stand-up game in MMA to the point where he almost looks like a pure karate fighter. Like, he knows what he's talking about, and I always look at that as a massive addition to any fight camp because you know he works extremely hard. He went from not making an Olympic team to winning the gold medal the next time of the Olympics. Like, Henry Cejudo is that X factor, but I agree with you 100%. It's just, it is nice that he is still at least a part of MMA. I know it's weird how he's in this sort of weird kind of limbo of, oh, is he going to come back and fight again? Is he not? At least he's still around the sport because he does have a lot of knowledge that can help a lot of other fighters and even championship caliber fighters like John Jones, like Wei Lee, like Deiveson.
David Gamel hitting us up saying, hello, do you think this is going to last 5 rounds? We don't have to shout here, David. I'm going to have a hard time on that one. Michigonian, smash the like button if you're pumped up for the championship fights. And Eddie's saying yes and no, maybe. But Matt, when we do look at this one, it is an interesting one because for Figueiredo, again, makes that big move. Somebody put a bunch of money on a Figueiredo knockout win. Cool beans, bro. But when we do look at this one, I mean, for Figueiredo, that is a great opportunity for him. He is one of those guys that when he just throws caution to the wind and puts his strikes out there, man, he can throw with ill will and great intent. And we see his coach, Eric Albarracin, who, yeah, it's a little unfortunate for him. He kind of loses a champ in Patricio Pitbull, but gains a champ in Patricky Pitbull, so that's kind of neat. But it really makes it interesting with guys like Cejudo, with guys like Eric Albarracin. Now, the other thing that I do want to say, because I did just give all that shine to DeFranco, to Eddie Cha, I don't see either of them in his corner.
Very interesting. He's got Cejudo, though, and that's all that... No, okay.
He does have Henry Cejudo.
It's going to... I'm so excited for this fight. I think it's going to be a really good one. But again, I just think age at this weight class catches up to you a lot earlier than it does than at the heavyweight class than at heavyweight. So... Again, if Figueiredo goes out there and gets a finish early on, I wouldn't be surprised at all. But I do think he is going to slow down as this fight goes on. But again, it'll be interesting because if Figueiredo wins, then maybe they could do a 4th fight. Maybe he does fight Askar Askarov. That could be a fresh new matchup. Like, it's just, this division's on fire. And again, for a division that almost got completely cut from the UFC, it's nice to see its resurgence.
And it's funny, you know, the question was out there, do you see anybody in the top 15 right now able to get the win over Brandon Moreno? I do have a hard time. I mean, maybe Pantoja's able to do it if he went out there and fought, you know... Like, I don't even think Demetrius Johnson can beat him right now, just considering the way that Demetrius looked in his last fight. It really... And his next fight's not even an MMA.
This is the way I look at it. I honestly think the top 5 of this division is, like, razor thin. Like, they're all really close to each other. I don't think Askar Askarov, Pantoja, Figueiredo, or Moreno are separated by that much. Like, they've all had extremely close fights with each other, and 2 of them have fought to a draw. So, I think we could kind of see one of these revolving door situations with the belt at the top, but I do still like Moreno in this one.
Larry Love, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you later. Sorry that we couldn't get the Victor Henry one, but man, that was an awesome fight. And the other one there, and I just wanted to touch on it, Pablo saying, wow, they really love Moreno. Pablo, you know, I mean, Anaheim's not that far away from Tijuana, so he's going to have a lot of that influence from Mexico, which is really neat to see. So absolutely love that for Brandon Moreno making the walk at the Honda Center. Obviously, we saw earlier on this week the Anaheim Ducks hanging out with Daniel Cormier, getting a little bit of a skate on. No, he cannot skate, but I wouldn't expect a guy from Louisiana to be the best at skating.
No, he's still a high-level athlete, but it was bad. He looks like me.
All right, Matt. So we have a really, really interesting one here. And I mean, for Deiveson Figueiredo, he is one of those all-action type of guys. You look at the stats for this fight and you compare these two guys. For Figueiredo, obviously in that first fight, he was able to get it done. Great volume to mix in with his power. He really had a complete attack. But overall and in total, you look at it, I mean, 56% striking accuracy to Figueiredo to 39% for Brandon Moreno. That's a big difference. Now, obviously, Moreno was able to finish the fight in the last one, able to land that great jab. Striking defense, though, is a very telling stat at 49% for Figueiredo to 58% for Brandon Moreno. When it comes to the takedowns, a little bit cleaner from Moreno, a little bit more often, but it really is a wash in that respect, especially in a fight like this. So I think this is going to be an absolutely amazing fight, and I'm just glad that we get to see it because, again, talked about all those top contenders, talked about all those guys. Marcelo Rojo, if I'm not mistaken, he's got a big fight coming up.
He does.
And Michael Morales earlier on tonight, able to get the win for the gym. Moreno looking to make it 2-2 for Entram Gym on the night because you did have Valdez losing and Silvana Gomez Juarez losing. But this is a big-time spot here for Brandon Moreno in almost a hometown fight. Unless it couldn't be more close unless it was in San Diego or Tijuana.
You don't think Deiveson Figueiredo is going to get the biggest pop ever in the crowd next?
Can't say so.
No,
Well,
I
he
don't
already
think
made
so.
the walk, so no.
Again, this fight's going to be great. The third fight in Trilogy normally is always the best. I'm trying to think. Yeah, Kane, JDS, their third fight was the best. Now that I think about it, I can't think of any other examples where the third fight's the best, but with Moreno and Figueiredo's game plan, it's like, you know when Phil Davis and Ryan Bader fight each other, it's like guaranteed to be awful and like super boring and not something you want to watch at all. Brandon Moreno and Deiveson Figueiredo is the opposite version of that. It's going to result in fireworks 10 times out of 10.
Should be a lot of fun, and Pablo chiming in on that Mighty Mouse fight. Yeah, that's definitely going to be a weird one. You know, I like what One Championship does. I think it's fun, but for DJ, it's almost like, well, he's not going to be the champ up a weight class, so to speak, so let's just kind of, you know, get as much out of him as we can.
Sean Lineker, on the other hand, though, thriving at 145. Thick boy Lineker knocks people dead.
I'll tell the fans of Fight Night Picks this. For this year, I promise you I will watch more One Championship. Because last year, I was excited for those TNT cards. They had a few of them. They were on YouTube in Canada, and then it just kind of flamed out. And yes, they still have cards, but usually they're on Fridays, so it's a little tough for me to catch. But I will go back, and I will watch them, and I'll just kind of just not look at and peek for spoilers.
I know Tension is a big fight coming up. I was thinking about that.
Ryzen.
I know it's with Ryzen, but I'm just thinking, who's he fighting in that? It's going to be a kickboxing fight because he might retire afterwards.
And a lot of interesting things there. Over on r/MMA, if you look at their top 5 promotions that were voted on, it was UFC, One Championship, there was PFL in there, Ryzen, and who am I missing? Not KSW. Bellator wasn't even in the top 5.
Bellator... Pandemic era MMA has been very bad on Bellator. I think that's fair to say because where the UFC has enough resources because they're backed by a huge entertainment company, they have billions of dollars that they can fund themselves with. Like, they were able to rent basically an island in Saudi Arabia and just be able to do fights there. Whereas Bellator doesn't really have those resources available to them.
United Arab Emirates.
Sorry, United Arab Emirates. So, whereas Bellator, they're go to where? They're in, like, Connecticut a lot. Like, they don't really sell out these
Connecticut,
massive venues.
Oklahoma, and California.
Exactly. Those have been places where it's very hard to get shows.
Now, they're going back to England. They're going to have the MVP Amosov fight. They're going to go back to Ireland, if I'm not mistaken. But this should be a great one. Voodoo Wiz is saying, dude, no lie, my power just went out. Shoot. Well, hopefully the person's all right in the car accident. And yeah, just tune in with us. We're going to try and make it the best we can for you. But should be a great one. Moreno, since leaving the UFC, 4-0-2 with the 2 draws to Askar Askarov and then Deiveson Figueiredo. Again, Figueiredo won it, but he loses a point. So ultimately, he ends up at a draw. And this is a great one. This is a big-time fight for these two guys. So, again, Moreno able to get it done within 3 in his last time out. The first fight went to 5 rounds. And, yeah, I mean, for Figueiredo, it was so interesting, too, because you talk about the cardio. 2 weight cuts in 2 weeks. against Perez and Moreno, and he was still able to throw that crazy output in that first fight.
It's a wild thing to do. Like, when Ferguson lost to Justin Gaethje, a lot of people blamed it on him doing that weird weight cut 3 weeks before. I don't remember why he did that. I just remember that was a thing. But for Deiveson Figueiredo, he was able to make that quick turnaround and still have a very competitive fight with Moreno. But the odd thing is, he looked better with the quick turnaround in his weight cut than he did with the long layout between the first and second fight.
And it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, especially with the new camp, the move to the States, less of a worry to, have to travel. So we'll get an inkling as to how that plays out, especially in this first round here between a couple of all-action guys at flyweight. The votes at Fight Night Picks on Instagram, got them up on the phone in front of me. 373 total votes for Moreno to 205 for Figueiredo. That's good for 65% going with the champ himself. Craig is saying foggy, LOL. And Figgy looking foggy and Michigonian going with foggy. So, Matt, we'll see how Foggy makes out in this fight. But if you do look at it for the champion Moreno, obviously it meant so much for him to win the belt. A lot of people had him as almost like a personality of the year from last year. So many good fighters getting up to the top of the pinnacle of the sport with Latin roots. You saw Juliana Pena, the champion, the Venezuelan vixen, getting it done. And I think 2022 is going to be an amazing year for her. Win, lose, or draw with the belt. I mean, listen, you made it from the Ultimate Fighter, had an up and down career in the UFC, and a champion now as we get set for the first round.
You would never be able to do this, but there's a way to figure out the millions of dollars that she cost Kayla Harrison.
It is tricky. Now, we get set here, Matt,
Big
for
butterfly effect for her winning that title.
the trilogy between Deiveson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno, your champ in the white trunks, your challenger in yellow. And I believe your challenger interim champ Gane has blue trunks with gold trim. Not something you see very often.
I do like that they're not just giving the champs the black with the gold. Let them switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, and Moreno, like you said, not choosing the black trunks. We saw McGregor do that against, who was it? Was it Eddie Alvarez in that fight that he went with the white trunks?
I don't remember.
Well, we'll try. We'll hear from the commenters over there. Figueiredo going for a leg kick early, about 30 seconds in. Very much a feeling out process. Right in the center of the cage. Another leg kick there.
Answered by Moreno, though. And again, the hand speed of Moreno is going to be a key to this fight.
Figueiredo getting way out of dodge very quickly there. And we have our first grappling exchange.
Figueiredo has his hand in an interesting position.
That much is true. And Figueiredo looking to defend. Looks like both guys have an underhook each. And you've got a hand down the middle for Deiveson Figueiredo, looking to avoid those knees, though. That's a cardio zapper, is the knee to the body.
It is. You don't want that.
Ooh, looked like one might have grazed the cup. And now now you got Brandon Moreno with...
Just a lot of guys being comfortable. This is like when your dad walks in when you're watching him. Hey, son, what are you doing? Normally you want Francis Ngannou knockouts. But
a little bit of an oil check. Brandon Moreno looking to defend here. Figueiredo pressing up.
And this is high-level stuff to the uninitiated.
That much is true. Pablo's having a good time. Everybody's having a good time. Moreno, hand on the inside of the thigh. He's got an underhook with his right hand as well. Both of these guys are just holding this clinch. Now, Herzog wants him to work, and if I'm not mistaken, Herzog did stand up Jazz Divisius and Kay Hansen in the first fight of the night in a position where a lot of people were a little surprised. A little bit of an early stand-up.
This is not how I thought this fight was going to go. That's all I'm going to say. With Figueiredo, though, it will be interesting if he does try to go for offensive takedowns, because we know how advanced his own submission game is, although a lot of the time it does come from sort of a defensive submission approach, but he does have a great ground game in his own right.
Figueiredo putting every ounce of his being into the upper body shove, and Moreno looking to land one for his troubles, but neither guy able to do much. And we have about 2 minutes and 45 seconds remaining in our first round. Neither man pulling ahead in any respect.
Back in open space. It'll be interesting to see if Figueiredo goes back to the leg kicks, though. He was trying to land those early, so it must be something they did in the gym.
Oh, nice double triple up on the jab, and a leg kick that drops Moreno down. That's a really good job. Figueiredo's done that through this first round with those leg kicks.
Yes, Moreno likes to step to his left and land with that hook a lot off the exit, and Figueiredo's done a really good job at responding to it.
Both guys doing a good job of the jab here. Another
good
nice
hand
leg
in the
kick.
Middle for Moreno, but yeah, good leg kick from Figueiredo, too, to meet him.
We'll have to see if Moreno decides to switch stances. Head kick attempt there from Moreno, blocked by Figueiredo.
That came close. And Moreno just throws so many things at you. Going to the body, throwing kicks, throwing hooks. Just a lot to react to.
2 minutes remaining in our first round. Another leg kick drops Moreno, and that can be
that
it
right hand
there.
might have caught Figueiredo, though. But those leg kicks are adding up. Like, I would not want to eat multiple calf kicks from Deiveson Figueiredo. Like, you know what kind of power this guy has.
Good leg kick from Moreno.
He's going to have to check them defensively, though. Because he's still behind by, like, 11. That's the problem.
Figueiredo doing a really good job dropping Moreno twice on those leg kicks, and he's definitely been the one that's landed the better damage here.
Moreno got his leg up a little bit on that one. That one didn't land as heavy if it did.
Less than a minute and a half remaining in this first round. Figueiredo doing a really good job here so far. Moreno looking to put everything into those shots, and Figueiredo gets out of the way, works on a takedown.
Go for a body lock takedown. Moreno's great in these scrambles, but this will be interesting to see because Figueiredo, again, he has a very high-level submission game. A lot of people forget that because he got submitted in their last fight, but he's a phenomenal grappler in his own right.
Minute and 7 seconds remaining. Figueiredo looking to try and get the back here. Moreno scrambles out of it, and he's back up to his feet. Really good job.
That was an insane scramble. To go from his back up to his feet again, that was wild.
We had a lapse in the pay-per-view, and it looked like a heavy shot landed for Brandon Moreno. It looked like a right hand landed there.
I think they both may have. Figueiredo really trying to go for the wrestling.
Figueiredo goes for a takedown attempt defended by Moreno. 45 seconds remaining on our broadcast. Nice leg kick lands for Moreno.
Interesting first round so far. Because the leg kicks are really starting to add up. Like, I say Moreno's checked one of them, but Figueiredo's landed 7 or 8 real clean ones.
Less than 30 seconds remaining here. It's high-level chess in this round because... Ooh, a spinning leg kick by Moreno.
It must be jelly because Jim don't shake like that.
That was one of the nicest strikes you'll see tonight. Another nice leg kick from Moreno. Now the tide has turned.
And he's doing a good job timing the forward pressure of Figueiredo and just kicking him at the smart times.
Good job here from Brandon Moreno. Ooh, looked like a nice left hand landed there from Figueiredo.
Might have been. I think that leg's giving Moreno trouble.
Nice body kick there from Figueiredo.
Phenomenal fight so far.
Ooh, good body shot.
And that's what Moreno needs more of. In the second fight, that was a huge key to the victory for him. He went to the body a lot, and it really opened up the headshots for him as the fight progressed.
J. Espinoza saying, who's the ref? It's Jason Herzog, the referee in this one.
He would have A-plus perimeter defense in basketball.
So, Eddie's saying round 1 Figgy. I've got it round 1 Figueiredo as well.
Oh, without a doubt. He landed a lot of really good leg kicks. And really good boxing, too. But Moreno did have success. He landed a few good body shots, and he had a good right hand down the middle that did land clean. So both guys had good rounds, but Figueiredo was definitely able to accumulate a lot of damage with those leg kicks.
Doug saying Figueiredo round 1. J. Espinoza, no, it is Jason Herzog. It's not Herb Dean refereeing.
If it was Herb Dean, then...
You get to see shots landed by both guys there. VT saying round 1 Foggy. Foggy fresh. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what we get out of these two guys in the second round because you saw Moreno land some leg kicks at the end of that first round start to work for him. But Figueiredo, you send a guy down to the mat there with a couple leg kicks. I mean, that is really impressive.
Exactly. And those were the biggest moments of the fight for sure.
That's true. Figueiredo starts out pressuring Moreno with 1 foot behind the black line. Big flurry from both guys.
Yeah, it looked like Figueiredo tried to step in with an elbow.
And you can see the speed from Moreno. He's still a minus 130 live. He was about a minus 185 before the fight.
I'm surprised that Figueiredo's gone for so many takedown attempts, though, because normally a lot of his grappling does come from more of a defensive position.
Close first round. Kevin Ioli's got a 10-9 Moreno.
Good left hook by Moreno.
Nice left hook there. Aaron Bronstedter's got a 10-9 Moreno.
And maybe some of those counter shots landed cleaner than we perceive. It is kind of hard to tell with no volume, to be fair.
Brandon Moreno is throwing everything at Deiveson Figueiredo.
Yeah, he's starting to gain confidence as this fight goes on. Starting to walk Figueiredo down, not the other way around.
And Figueiredo's doing a really good job of picking his shots in this fight, and he's not just throwing out things just to do it. Nice leg kick from Figueiredo.
I think Moreno might have checked that one, though, honestly.
Minute into our second round between these two guys. Very close affair so far.
It really is. And these guys are so... Like, you don't have a trilogy for the title without being extremely evenly matched. And I'm surprised Figueiredo hasn't gone back to the leg kick and sort of these more neutral positions in the middle of the cage. Good right hand from Figueiredo. Caught Moreno looping. Good right hand from Moreno, though. When he's straight with that right hand down the middle, it lands every time. And
Figueiredo's done a good job as he eats a bit of a leg kick for his troubles, brings the knee up a little bit. But Figueiredo's done a really good job of moving out of the way of some of these shots, too. Because you've seen a lot of volume out of Moreno, and he's just kind of throwing. Ooh, he really timed that left hand well. Now he's got the back of Moreno. Now they scramble, and it's back up into the center.
Flyweight never die. What a great division. But when Moreno's moving forward, he's having a lot of success because when Figueiredo's at his best, he's the one leading the dance and he's making you react to what he's doing. But when he is on the back foot, he can still catch you with a big counter shot, but you can get a lot more damage off on him if you're walking forward.
Now, I'm surprised so far. We're about 2 minutes into our second round. We haven't had any takedown attempts from Figueiredo, really. He eats a big-time left hand, eating 2 more shots!
Yeah, Moreno's starting to land. Figueiredo might have some damage on his eye. Can't really tell.
The QMK parlay hinges on a Moreno win. Ooh, big body shot. Figueiredo's starting to slow down a little bit.
And I think it was that wrestling. Because here's the thing. If you're a world-class athlete and you're doing something that you don't naturally do, it's still going to take the wind out of you a lot faster.
Big leg kick landed there for Brandon Moreno, and Davison Figueiredo was flush, like standing on that lead leg.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Moreno. The timing's so good with everything he does.
2 minutes and 21 seconds. I love the kick to the breadbasket there from Figueiredo. That's a great one.
That's what he needs more of. Kind of equalize the cardio between the two of them.
And we saw that work to great effect in our last fight.
Moreno hitting him on the way back, though.
BT saying Davison's starting to slow down.
It looks like it.
About 2 minutes and 5 seconds remaining here in the second round. Oh, left hook to the body, coming
Right
back
hook
up top.
too.
Brandon Moreno.
Moreno's combinations on the feet have really taken a big step since the first fighter we saw in the UFC. Like, it's really wild to see how much better he is now.
Bit of an overextension there from Moreno, but it's all right. He doesn't get caught out of position. Davison goes deep for that takedown attempt. He's got the leg. Will he be able to finish? Went with a right hand. Sneaky.
That was. And he's going to need more of that, though. Like, catch him on the in-betweens, because right now, Brandon Moreno's the one who's just teeing off on him in these boxing exchanges.
Another nice shot lands there for Moreno.
Love the body work. And he's making Figueiredo pay now for that forward movement, because when Figueiredo takes a step forward, that's when he gets met by the jab. That's when he gets hit by the body hook.
We're getting to see those significant strike numbers, but again, consider that really does string in that first round. Figueiredo looking to pressure here late. Another cheeky little spin kick.
I don't know if I love those.
No, because it leaves your defenses low and your head exposed. Oh, Figueiredo does a really good job.
But it's the speed of Moreno.
Oh,
Good
that left hand. Oh, another left hand from Moreno. These boys are swinging.
They are.
Oh, right hand
Big
lands.
right hand from Figueiredo. That one could have hurt Moreno.
Oh!
These guys are throwing absolute hammers.
Figueiredo with a bit of a wobble step there. Less than 45 seconds remaining. These guys are absolutely going at it. Ooh.
Yeah, when he's the one moving Figueiredo back, Figueiredo does not respond to the pressure all that well. It's like Sergey Kovalev. I'm going to bring up a sour subject for Craig, a Crusher fan. But like Kovalev was great moving forward, but when you bully the bully and force them to go backwards, they're not used to it, so it's very unnatural for them.
Figueiredo just caught one of those backward spins from Moreno, grabbed it and faked the takedown.
Left hook though.
Going for a hook of his own, Figueiredo eats one for his troubles. That was Condit Hardy-esque.
When he's not setting up his strikes in the way in, Moreno really is just teeing off on him.
Voodoo Wiz having a good time in the dark. All right, we get done with that round. So for both of us,
Moreno evened it up. I think.
Yeah, 19-19. Kevin Ioli's probably got it 2018.
Aaron Bronstetter too.
Friend of the show, Aaron Bronstetter. He was on an episode of Question Mark Kicks not that long ago. Yeah, this is a fun one now. Coach Cejudo getting his instructions in.
But like Brandon Moreno just doesn't care if he gets hit in the head. It's kind of wild to me. Like he doesn't react when he gets hit by clean shots at all. It doesn't matter what level of power puncher hits him. It's like, okay, like this is fighting. I'll just deal with it and move forward. Whereas like Figueiredo, when he gets hit, it's like, oh, shoot. And then I'll get back into it.
Yeah, let us know how you have this one scored. Everybody tuning in. We're only 5 likes away from 100. I mean, listen, that's all you can ask for on one of these Fight Night Picks companions. But we're having a good time. Hopefully you guys are having a good time out there because they've been some big-time fights so far. I've had a great time. This has been one of the best cards in a while.
Oh, yeah, this has been a phenomenal pay-per-view card. And again, it wasn't a card a lot of people were excited for other than the top 2 fights, but it had surprising depth and really delivered. And this has been a phenomenal fight so far. We still have a title fight after. Francis and Gane, Cyril Gane?
Francis. All right, here we go. Get set for our third round between Figueiredo and Moreno. And, yeah, I mean, listen, first round, close. Had it for Figueiredo. Second round, had it for Moreno. And Brandon Moreno really able to do some good work there. And
good leg kicks.
Starting to figure out the leg kicks of Figueiredo, but they worked so well in that first round. In the second round, Moreno was able to kind of switch the tide and get his own.
He was able to implement his own, but if Figueiredo goes back to those, I don't think Moreno's going to be able to check each and every one of them, but that left hook's landing a lot for Brandon Moreno.
And that's one of those things. Ooh, looks like Moreno was in and out and able to land in that exchange, and Figueiredo now bringing his hands down a little bit more.
Figueiredo's getting a lot more desperate on his entries now.
Ooh.
I say that as Moreno charges in.
Moreno went in for a bit of a jump knee to the body, and Figueiredo automatically goes for the body lock, gets the takedown.
Yeah, good fight IQ from Figueiredo, but Moreno's slick on the ground. He's tough to hold down.
Figueiredo getting to the back.
Arm in, though. He doesn't have it.
And Moreno back up to the feet.
Just an absolutely wild fight. But Moreno's still very fresh on his feet, moving around well, whereas Figueiredo's a lot more stationary.
Rob Lawrence, to each his own. That's fine. But big time one here for the title at 125. Moreno back up after that takedown. You have to wonder how that, kind of favors Moreno in an exchange like that. Figueiredo, yes, gets the takedown, but again, you had to expend a lot of energy to put the body lock in to get him down and then to kind of try and hold him down as he gets back up.
Well, also, confidence is key in life. And
Figueiredo hurts Moreno.
Big hook by Figueiredo.
Oh!
Moreno may have hurt him back. That was a big response by Figueiredo.
Man, Figueiredo doing a great job. Moreno is all over the place.
He is. That shot hurt.
He hits him again.
Yeah, another big left hook. Both guys might be hurt.
Moreno hits Figueiredo. We've got ourselves a fight.
This has been wild. The fight's starting to wear on Figueiredo, but he's landed a few big shots.
Man, Figueiredo, power's the last thing to leave you at heavyweight, but you talk about it at flyweight. Man, Davison Figueiredo is in this fight.
And that's why I think he would fit right into the bantamweight division. It would probably add 2 years onto his career.
Oh, a nice leg
Good
kick
right
there
hand,
from Figueiredo.
Moreno's making him pay with counter shots when he is eating the leg kicks.
Oh, Figueiredo lands another good one.
Tough round to score because both guys have eaten some big shots.
Left hooks land. We're about halfway through the third round. I've got it Figueiredo's way so far, but we've had an amazing one.
We certainly have. This has definitely lived up to all the hype.
Maguzzo hanging out. All the best. Really appreciate you tuning in. Nice
Big
leg kick
from Figueiredo. Right when you think Figueiredo looks tired, like he's starting to look for a way out, he'll land something big.
Good job there so far, the man himself. Figueiredo doing a great job in this fight.
Well, we know Figueiredo.
Oh, Moreno hits him with a big left hand.
Big flurry from Moreno. But again, the power difference is huge between them. When Figueiredo lands one shot, it's getting a big reaction to Moreno, whereas Moreno needs 2, 3, or 4 to hurt Figueiredo.
Figueiredo doing a really good job of staying out of dodge. Another nice leg kick lands for the Brazilian here.
I think those are starting to really add up. Great fight so far.
Hands nice and low for Figueiredo. Everybody's saying he's done, man. Can't count him out.
Watching, guys.
Minute 35 remaining in this third round. This has been a Figueiredo round.
Yeah, he's landed a lot of big power shots this round.
Moreno looking to establish a bit of a jab, pumping it out there, getting the distance.
Ooh, good right hand from Moreno. That's what he needs. He's got to be the faster guy down the middle.
Moreno lands. He's looking to push the pace. Minute 10 remaining.
Just speed versus power.
Closing in on a minute remaining in our third round. And hey, there was a big time finish in our last fight between these two guys in the third round. Moreno minus 255 on the live line.
Interesting.
Both guys feeling it out. 50 seconds remain.
Because it does feel like Figueiredo's the more tired guy, but he can still land those big power
big time
shots.
left hand lands for Moreno. 40 seconds remain. Another one lands for Moreno.
That was a good shot by Figueiredo, though.
Figueiredo doing a really good job on these counters and moving his head.
This has been a great one.
Moreno's starting to land here. Nice elbow by Figueiredo.
That's the thing. Figueiredo's still game, even though he's on the receiving end of a lot of these shots.
Both guys land in that exchange. Moreno continues to find a home for that left hand.
That
head kick
was close.
Really switching it up. 15 seconds remain. Close enough round.
This has been phenomenal.
10 seconds. Figueiredo on the offensive. Both guys land a jab.
Hurt him! Big overhand by Figueiredo. This is his best spot too, the guillotine. Brandon Moreno's going to work for 2 seconds, so he's...
There it is. That's the end of the round. So Figueiredo able to get another round back. He wins the first. He wins the third.
I would say.
29-28 Figueiredo. Wow.
That's a way to get the momentum back in your favor, though. Drop the champ with 5 seconds left in the round.
Big time one there for Figueiredo. We'll have a look at the numbers.
What a way
in
to
this one.
respond from Figueiredo.
Obviously, you have the significant strikes, giving it a good job by Moreno. He's out on top there, but Figueiredo landing those big power shots in the third round, and it definitely carries a little bit later on. So, again, third round between these two guys. The last time out, Moreno gets a submission win. Third time this time, Figueiredo, yeah, he might look a little tired. The hands are coming down, but he is doing great in these flurries, and he did a great job there.
Yeah, you still can't make a mistake when you're fighting a guy like Deiveson Figueiredo because he has fight-ending power in his hands.
That right hand just
Clean.
dropping him. Wow.
He hurt Moreno bad with that shot.
Yeah, he did a great
Right
job.
over the top of the jab.
Eric saying Figueiredo's done now. Ugh.
Can we stop saying Figueiredo's done every time he lands a hard shot?
Figueiredo can win this fight.
He definitely can.
All right, we're getting set
He's
for
winning it.
our fourth round. So we got a 29-28 Figueiredo. Let us know in the comments section how you're scoring it. I haven't seen any scores out there, but another nice leg kick lands for Figueiredo.
And they're making Moreno think. He's thinking about the leg, which is opening up his head.
Figueiredo looking good off the stool to start at 15 seconds in.
And you have to wonder how much Moreno's been able to recover in between rounds.
Live odds, your champ now a -150 favorite. Pablo's saying Figueiredo's still plus money. That spinning leg kick unable to land for Moreno. I think Figueiredo's got it figured out. The last time he was able to reach for a takedown, and he feinted on a takedown and fooled Moreno.
I don't think he fooled him. I think Moreno just defended it.
Really nice jab there lands for Figueiredo.
And that's the thing with Figueiredo. Everything he does is with big power. And let's say he is able to hurt Moreno again. Like, it's going to be all in Moreno to finish the fight.
Figueiredo's starting to make Moreno miss here in our fourth round.
Yeah, Figueiredo's confidence is definitely building. He's the one switching stances now.
Doing a great job so far.
Great back and forth fight.
That backwards leg kick land for Moreno? It might not have, but he lands a nice body kick there.
Yeah, that was a good body kick for sure.
Nice body kick there from Figueiredo that might have gone a little low.
May have.
Eddie Barraza saying Moreno's gassing. I think you gas when you get hit with a right overhand flush.
He's been hit by some big shots. Yeah, it's tough to take that much damage and still be a fresh version of yourself.
Ooh, nice right hand lands from Moreno. Puts himself way out of position.
Did land with the first one, but yeah, really overextended with the left.
Nice left hand lands from Moreno. Minute and a half in. Not a lot of action so far in this fourth round.
Ooh, good combo from Figueiredo. And really the key to this fight has been whoever's moving forward's been the one winning.
I'm surprised we haven't seen a little bit more urgency out of Figueiredo at the start of the fourth round, where he almost had Moreno finish at the end of the third.
He must just try to be reserve himself, because that has been the key. Like, he looks like the more tired fighter out of these two, but when he is landing, it's still having the much bigger effect.
2 minutes into our fourth round, the championship rounds, Moreno-Figueiredo.
And yeah, Moreno's not as sure as to when to get into these exchanges now, especially after being hurt.
We got the super chat from Too Easy saying your content's always part of my fight week build up. Keep it up, fellas.
Well, thank you.
Thank you to Too Easy. Moreno slipping out of the way here, lands a nice left hand and slips out of the way again.
Using his speed really well defensively right now, but so's Figueiredo.
Halfway through our fourth round, this one's close.
Really has been. Both guys slowing down.
Figueiredo circling to his right, lands a leg kick.
And those will be the story of the fight, no matter what the result is.
Ooh, nice uppercut landed there for Moreno.
It's just hard for Moreno to move because that leg is compromised, to quote Conor McGregor.
2 minutes and 5 seconds remaining in your fourth round. This has been the closest of them.
Oh, yeah, I have no idea how you would score this one so far. Still 2 minutes left, but great fight.
Neither guy throwing much output, waiting for the other one to make a mistake.
And again, with Moreno, like, he knows that there's consequences now for him being out of position.
Especially as the fight's gone on. Figueiredo trying for that big right hand, out of position.
Ooh,
maybe a clash of heads there.
But
Takedown attempt from Figueiredo. He's putting everything into it. He gets the back of Moreno. Hands clasped, minute and a half remaining.
he is attempting, he's putting a lot of energy into these takedown attempts.
Which we haven't really seen since, the second round?
Yeah, and it did seem to fatigue him quite a bit when he did it last time, so it'll be interesting to see what the game plan is. Maybe he thinks, okay, if I control this round against the cage, I can win it, and then I'm up 3-1.
Moreno working the hands here. Figueiredo landed some knees to the back of the leg of Moreno. Trying to decipher the lock as Moreno. Eating a few more knees for his troubles. Gonna look to try and scramble out of this position. Now Figueiredo's the minus 165 favorite. Moreno at the start of the round was minus 150. Moreno landed some good shots in that exchange.
Landed really good shots. Figueiredo's trying to stay dedicated to the wrestling, but Moreno made him pay for it.
Figueiredo has his hands down by his waist now after that exchange.
Yeah, that wrestling might have tired him out.
His right hand is all kinds of weird. 35 seconds. Moreno lands a nice one. If you got a good ending to this round, Moreno could definitely win it. Figueiredo lands a couple good shots. Same can be said. Nice kick there from Figueiredo.
Yeah, really tough round to score. Great fight, though. I know I've said that about 12 times, but...
About 15 seconds remain here in this fourth round. This has been the closest of the four. See if either guy can do a big thing in the last 10 seconds. Moreno lands a nice hand. 5 seconds remain.
And really, It's been 3 close rounds and 1 round definitely for Figueiredo.
Yeah,
that's the way I look at it.
That one's harder to score. I'm eager to see what everybody has as far as scores are concerned. They're showing Figueiredo's leg. I wonder if he looks like Rory McDonald against Douglas Lima in their fight. But yeah, that one's a tough one to score. I don't know bias-wise if I'm going to score it for Moreno, but I've got it tied 2-2 going into the fifth.
It could be 3-1 either guy. It could be 2-2. Again, it's 3 very close rounds and 1 round definitely for Devison Figueiredo being the third. So whatever you want to do with that information, go for it, but that's the way I see it.
Voodoo saying 2-2. Doug saying Moreno's round. Timothy saying 3-1. Activate A saying 3-1 Moreno. I've either got it 3-1 Figueiredo or 2-2. But I'm going 2-2. I think Moreno was able to get that one back. That was a close one. Timothy's got it 3-1 for Moreno, not for Figueiredo.
It probably comes down to this round, though. Like, both guys are going to need a big moment.
This has been a heck of a title fight. VT saying 2-2, maybe 3-1 Moreno. I have a hard time. I mean, to me...
A lot of people had the first round for Moreno. I know we didn't, but there were some other people who did, so it's not that surprising.
That's true. The thing for me when I look at this, the damage has been there for Figueiredo, and that's key. So this fifth round really could decide it, though. That's the big thing. I mean, Cool Banana Boy, tough to call.
Yeah, really tough one to call. Again, it probably comes down to this fifth and final round. In a trilogy, it already took 14 rounds, now we did 15.
Figueiredo looks fresh off the stool.
He does. Fresh Figgy. Coming to a city near you.
Leg kick totally misses for Figueiredo, but it doesn't really cost him.
Wow, Moreno.
Takedown attempt from Moreno. Wow, he gets it.
That was a nice body lock from Brandon Moreno.
Brandon Moreno working from half guard here. Some people like half guard the most out of any position on the ground.
I know, Craig, but do you know why?
Hit me with your best shot.
No, I asked you.
You can do a lot of different things.
It's a much more positionally sound position because you have control of one of their legs in between yours, whereas in mount, they can buck a lot easier. That's why.
But a minute into our fifth round, Moreno with the big takedown, but it's Figueiredo able to get out of that half guard position.
But that's been the biggest moment of the fight so far. Or of the round, I should say. Sorry.
It's been one of those fights, kind of like Tyron Woodley, Jake Paul.
Good left hook by Moreno. That might have hurt Figueiredo, but he could just be tired.
Woodley had that big action. Everybody remembers that in their first fight, but ultimately Paul was able to win the decision. In this one, Figueiredo landed that big-time right overhand that dropped Moreno, but it's been a close fight.
It certainly has been. It just feels like Moreno's been slightly more consistent, whereas Figueiredo, like you said, has had the bigger moments.
Minute and a half into the fifth round so far. We got it over that 100 like. Oh, look at that. Figueiredo moves out of the way. Is he going to be able to end up on top? Really nice elbow there. Make him pay for his troubles.
But he needs more in open space because the last 2 rounds he's kind of waited for Moreno to engage with him, whereas in the first 3 where he was having success, he was the one moving forward, being the initiator of a lot of these exchanges.
They showed the live odds there for just a second. Moreno was a minus 185 favorite. That's what he was at before this fight even started. Nice left hand there for Brandon Moreno.
But again, that tells you just how well these guys are matched up with each other. Like, this fight is extremely close, and this is the 3rd time they've done it. What if we get another draw?
3 minutes left in this fight. It's been a great one here between these two guys.
Really has been. Slowed down a little bit this round, but again, I just think Moreno knows that there's consequences for getting into these exchanges, and Figueiredo's pretty tired.
Neither guy can afford to make a big mistake. Couple of jabs land from Moreno, and it's Figueiredo missing on the overhand right. But if one of those connects...
Oh yeah, that's a fight ender.
We're over. Half a round remaining here.
Again, any big move could win this round, and this round could be the deciding one in the fight.
The fast moves here from Moreno. Rob Lawrence, really do appreciate you having a good time hanging out. Oh!
Big right hand from Figueiredo. That one sat Moreno down.
Figueiredo stuns Moreno, who's right back up.
Big action, though.
Moreno's really landing here.
Figueiredo's eye might be hurt, but he landed the biggest shot there.
I'm surprised Moreno was able to get back to his feet. That one hit.
That one did, but he has a wicked chin.
158 remaining.
Such a hard fight. I would not want to be a judge.
Nice left hand there from Moreno, who's outlanded Figueiredo in this round, but Figueiredo with the biggest shot.
Exactly. So you never really know who they're going to give it to. Probably side with the guy who got the knockdown, but it just so evenly matched. Again, cannot get over how even these guys are as fighters.
Less than a minute and a half remaining here. Our fifth and final round for the title. Figueiredo doing a great job in this one. Minute 10 remaining. Figueiredo from Southpaw here.
And no one knows, depending on who wins this, really does shape the division for years to come.
Figueiredo back over to Orthodox. Less than a minute remaining. 53 seconds remaining. Moreno's hands are down. Kick attempt there. Figueiredo waiting, circling. 45 remaining.
But with Figueiredo, I'm surprised he didn't go for more leg kicks as this fight went on. They were landing a lot in the first round. I know you'll see a lot of guys kick early on in fights, and then kicking takes a lot more energy than punches do. But you would still think that he'd be more dedicated to that part of his game.
I mean, 30 seconds remaining, and for me, Figueiredo's won the round off that giant shot he was able to land. Lands another nice right hand. Figueiredo hits another right hand.
He might have Moreno hurt.
15 seconds remain. Oh, nice right hand lands from Moreno.
Both guys have landed big shots.
Figueiredo goes for a takedown attempt.
I just think they got close.
Moreno's landing.
Ooh, he's landed some clean shots.
5 seconds left. Moreno lands. Oh, man. What a fight between these two guys. Holy smokes, man. What an amazing fight between these guys. And it is anybody's guess as to who won that fight.
I have no idea who won. Probably Figueiredo, I think. I'd probably give it to Figueiredo 3-2 personally, but if Moreno won, I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever.
I've got it 48-47 Figueiredo. I think he won that last round, but man, yeah, such a close fight. Holy smokes. And they're saying Figueiredo got hurt at the end. Man, what a close fight they just had for the title. Holy smokes. Let us know over there in the comments section how you had that one. I'm hoping the question mark kick parlay hits and I get Brandon Moreno, but man, that fight was really, really close there.
Yeah, that was good.
Dimitar, that definitely means a lot. Yeah, you had a heck of a fight. I'll throw it on over to the numbers, but again, significant strikes don't really mean everything. Obviously, you had Moreno out on top. He threw about, 30 more strikes, so a good job there from Moreno. But obviously, the knockdowns, 3 of them for Figueiredo.
I think he only had 2, but
I mean, a great job in that one. Gawani saying great fight, legs of steel. Derek saying Moreno. Doug saying the best fight so far. I mean, hey, Victor Henry, Raoni Barcelos had a heck of a fight, but that was a great, great title fight there for sure. Big Omar saying Figgy, MD saying and new. Yeah.
But a close fight no matter who won. I'd watch these guys fight 10 times, and I think it would be great every single time.
Yeah, this is going to be a really, really hard one for the judges, and I'm eager to see what they have. Nevin saying draw.
That'd be wild.
And still Kurt Rodriguez.
I can't
Jonathan, Figgy 3-2. That's how I've got it.
Figgy Moreno 7 on Bellator.
Eagle FC will have that one. You know they will. Walker Scott saying Trilogy was amazing or was awesome. Voodoo saying, did the judges get to watch the replay? No.
They don't.
Those were trips, not knockdowns.
Yeah, there were 2 knockdowns, I would say. There wasn't 3, I don't think. There was
Phoenix saying Moreno 49-48. Well, I apologize to everybody in the chat. I'm gonna hide it. You're gonna get our live look here at the decision because I can't wait to see this one. Bruce Buffer with it. Jason Herzog with the guys.
It's going to be weird, though, if Figueiredo wins, because it won't really feel like the rivalry's over, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that much is true. Get to go to a decision. Both guys think they won this fight.
Unanimous. Interesting. Huh. 48. Well, that doesn't tell us.
Davison Figueiredo, your champ, man.
That's fair. That was a great fight.
The picks tonight have been doggy doo from old Craig Allen, and the question mark kicks parlay misses. But man, Davison Figueiredo had a heck of a fight. 48-47 all the way, and yeah, you have to wonder if they go that way again. But for Figueiredo, I mean, listen,
numbers don't matter though. That's the issue. Like, not all significant strikes are created equal, and that's what matters. You can't just look at significant strike numbers and count them like numbers in a basketball game like you would points. Significant strikes only matter for a certain amount. It's a very easy way to sort of measure damage in a very simple way, but like the actual amount of damage that happens in the fight does matter, and the 2 knockdowns basically seal the rounds for him. So the significant strikes don't really matter, and that's the thing. When you just look at pure numbers of a fight, that accounts for the whole entire fight. That's not a round-by-round breakdown, and when judges are judging the fight, they don't judge it as a whole. They only judge it based on round by round. So that's why I always get bothered when people just point at significant strike numbers and say, oh, well, this guy landed more significant strikes. Why did they not win? You just can't always look at those numbers and count them like you would points in any other sport. That's all. It's a very common misconception.
Okay, well, Davison Figueiredo, your winner, and you have to feel for him too, because I mean, this is a guy that left his family, everything behind in Brazil to move to fight ready for months and months on end to win his belt back. So a great job there from Davison Figueiredo. Brandon Moreno able to get it done last summer, but unfortunately for him, he loses his belt, and Figueiredo is able to gain it back. This is a guy that got it against Joseph Benavidez, had those 2 fights, missed weight the first time, so it was not for the belt. And then he goes out there, beats Perez. He gets to hold on to it in the draw, loses it to Moreno, and now all of a sudden he gets it again. But a great job there. And yeah, you have to wonder. I see the comments over there. Do we get a 4th fight? Do we get a 4th fight? And when you look at it in this division, I mean, Pantoja's the only guy that doesn't have a fight at the top. Askarov booked with Kara France. You got Matt Schnell and Alex Perez, which is an interesting fight.
And for me, honestly, I think you do Pantoja versus Figueiredo for the title. Do Askarov versus Moreno 2 for the number 1 contender. They fought to a draw, so we really don't know who is the better out of those 2 fighters. I think that'd be a fun way to match them up in the future.
Corey McGregor, you called it. You got it. Good job. And Rob Lawrence had Figueiredo to get the win. So an amazing fight.
I had no money on this fight, luckily.
Like I said, I mean, Moreno, 65% of the fans at Fight Night Picks had him to get the win. But you can't call it a robbery, Eduardo.
I don't think it was a robbery at all.
Fight.
Like, okay, here's the thing. If Figueiredo lost but dropped the champion twice, think about what people would be saying the opposite way. Like, it would still be called a robbery. It would just be looked at in a slightly different perspective. So it was going to be a controversial decision no matter who won. But for me, if you have a very close fight and one guy scores knockdowns and the other guy doesn't, the guy who got the knockdowns is probably going to win. I understand it's judged round by round, but again, for me, at least if I was a judge, and I know I'm not, but the way that judging has been described to me is, if you get a knockdown in a fight, there's a lot that has to go against you for you to then lose that round. And I always go back to UFC 205 when Jeremy Stephens fought Frankie Edgar. In the second round of that fight, Jeremy Stephens hits Frankie Edgar with a front kick to the face that drops him and hurts him really bad. But Edgar spends the next 3.5 minutes in mount and rains down elbows on him. So Edgar won that round. It takes a lot for you to sway it back in your favor after you're on the receiving end of a knockdown.
Yeah, I'm not calling that one a bad decision. It was definitely a win
fight
for Figueiredo. 3 rounds to 2, and I can see why the judges went that way.
Now, would you agree, though, that you can easily put a 4th fight together? Let's say Moreno does beat Askarov and Figueiredo beats Pantoja. I know I'd still be excited for this the 4th time around. Would you?
Everybody's saying Figueiredo's calling for a 4th. I'd be fine with it. It's just, yeah, well, Askarov already has the fight against Kara France, so that's already happening. So Moreno either gets the 4th fight, or you got Pantoja kind of hanging around in the mix up there as well. So it is interesting. VT saying, how many knockdowns did Moreno get? None. He got leg kicked a couple times and dropped in the first round. He got dropped 3 times in general, so they called it.
Only got dropped twice. No, UFC stats don't make any sense because they had Moreno getting dropped once in their second fight on their website. So I don't really look at the numbers, put much stock into them. They're not always accurate.
Moreno didn't get dropped in that one. And
I know
he show it numbers-wise. I know.
Craig, the UFC stats website is not always accurate. They don't have Darren Till dropping Robert Whittaker on there, and he did it in their fight. I don't think he got dropped 3 times is all I'm saying.
Well, we move on, Matt, to our next fight. And I mean, listen, this one, again, for the title, you have Ciryl Gane taking on the man himself, Francis Ngannou, and split on the picks. And I'm going to end up at a negative for 2 weeks in a row, which doesn't really ever happen. And now it's happened 2 weeks in a row. We're going to make it not a trend. But I will say, last year it did start this way for me, and then it turned right around. So we get into this one, Matt. Ngannou taking on Gane. Obviously, it's technician versus power, but it isn't really. Can you kind of touch on that a little bit?
I can, but I do look at it large part that way. It's just with Francis, he has been able to round out a lot of his technique in recent years, but he does rely on that really massive X factor of his power, where Cyril Gane's interesting because he must be filled with helium. He looks like the biggest man in the world, but he only weighs in at 247? Like, when he weighs in, he looks much bigger frame-wise than he genuinely is, and that's always quite surprising to me, because on fight night, he's going to look very similar size-wise to Ngannou, even though he does weigh almost 15 pounds less. But the big X factor for me in this is that Gane is really good in sort of that middle range of striking where he can get his kicks going, sort of incorporate his kicks with his punches. I think he's going to struggle all the way on the inside, which he's going to really need in this fight, I think. And I'll be really curious to see when and if he does incorporate his wrestling, because I think he's the better grappler than Francis, don't get me wrong, but I don't think Cyril Gane's so good at grappling that he can out-grapple a lot of guys in the top 15. Now, I said that in his last fight that, if we're going to see Cyril Gane's grappling, it will be against Derek Lewis. We didn't see it in that matchup, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him go for a takedown attempt.
So to give everybody an idea, if we move back to our last fight, I just saw the judges' scorecards over there on the old interwebs, and first judge Chris Crail scored the fight 48-47 for Figueiredo, giving him round 1, 3, and 4. Gave Brandon Moreno round 2 and round 5. If you look at it for Wade Vieira, scored it again 48-47. Figueiredo gave him rounds 1, 2, and 3. Moreno round 2 and round 4. And Judge Michael Bell scored rounds 1, 3, and 4 for Figueiredo, giving Moreno 2 and 5. So you can make an argument that round 4 went Moreno's way, which I did. But then in round 5, I gave it to Figueiredo. So kind of all over the place with the judging. And it'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out.
Well, the right guy won.
Because Chris Crail and Wade Vieira aren't household names in the judging ends of things either way.
But wait, you still agree with their scorecard?
I do. I'm just saying it's not often you see Chris Crail and Wade Vieira. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, but it's not like they made a big mistake or anything. It's just the way I looked at that last fight was there was one definitive round for Figueiredo. Again, the 5th round, I thought he won 2 with the knockdown. But to me, other than the 3rd round being pretty clear for Davison, I thought the other 4 were very close.
Be interesting to see how it does moving forward. Priya Rose hitting us up in the super chat saying Cejudo would have lost that split decision to DJ if it was scored on output and damage. DJ outstruck him with a broken foot, while Cejudo just laid and prayed. So that's an interesting one for the super chat, man.
Again, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. I thought in the second fight, Cejudo made massive improvements compared to the first one. And, of course, he goes from getting knocked out in the first round via tie knees to the body in the first round of their first fight to going to a split decision in the second. But I thought the wrestling was really effective out of him, and I thought he put together a good enough game plan. A lot of people are of the mindset of to beat the champion, you really got to go out there and take it from him. But I thought he did do enough to just edge a decision past DJ. And it's not a sexy way to win the title, but I thought he did do enough. It was a great fight, though. And that's one of those matchups that it sucks that we never got to see a trilogy out of it, and that DJ did go to one championship, and we did lose out on a few great fights.
So finally we have this fight, Matt, at heavyweight. And listen, I mean, we've had big time heavyweight posters before. You remember when Brock Lesnar fought Alistair Overeem? It was their weights and their records and all that stuff on the poster. But Francis Ngannou, Cyril Gane's a little bit different because obviously these guys trained in the past. There was a sparring footage, but none of anybody getting knocked down or knocked out, which was kind of interesting.
It was all one-sided, though.
Yeah, it was. And it was weird, too, because it looked like Ngannou was getting Gane ready for a fight, and Ngannou wasn't going as hard as he could, in the stuff that I saw, anyway.
I think we can both agree. It's all BS.
Oh,
I don't care about...
That's where I'm going with
it.
Yeah,
I'm sure Cyril Gane's cracked Francis in training, and I'm sure the same things happen vice versa. These guys both weigh about 260 pounds, and I'm sure they've sparred together before. I don't know, when I hear that stuff, people are ooh, I knocked him out in training, or, ooh, I got the best of him. You're gonna fight for a reason. We're going to see it. I don't feel like they did the greatest job selling the fight.
Corey McGregor hitting us up in the super chat saying if Francis wins, I got a huge parlay pay. Corey, hopefully that works out for you. Selfishly, I want Gane to win, but still, I for that reason, I hear you. Art of MMA Analysis hitting us up with the New Zealand $5 saying Figgy versus Moreno 4 in UFC 274 Brazil. I think that's fair.
It would be good, but it's just hard to put that division on hold because Brandon Moreno and Davison Figueiredo have to fight each other until the end of time. I doubt we're going to get a definitive answer anytime soon. We're probably just going to continue to get a lot of close fights. So, for me, I think go to different opponents, see if they can get matched up in the future, because it is an easy sell again. Both guys have a win over the other. There's that one draw. So I think it's one of the few fights you could go to a fourth time in the future.
Well, we do appreciate the super chats. Artem MMA Analysis doing the damn thing on the YouTube. So if you check him out, make sure you check him out. Rob Lawrence having a good time. So Matt, when we do look at this one, Incognito asking about a going decision. JK. Votex saying, would this be a decision? I have a hard time with that. I've had a terrible night with the picks. It's been 2021, 2020, and 2019 just slapping me in the face.
Good.
Just slapping me right in the face. Eddie's saying, what did y'all watch? I had a 3-2. Yeah, I had a 3-2 for Figueiredo. But when it comes to this fight between these two guys, I mean, for Francis Ngannou, again, you look at the fight that he had against Stipe Miocic at UFC 222. You look at the fight that he had against him at UFC 260. You consider the two different products that you got out there, two totally different fights. And then you consider the fights that he had in between. And that's where it gets a little weird because, yes, we've seen a progression. And when I look at those fights, I don't even look at the fight that he had against Derek Lewis because there's nothing to gain from watching that one. If anything, he grew mentally from it.
I was going to say, January, I'm 99% sure, is Mental Health Awareness Month. And it's really important because Francis Ngannou showed that. If you're not right mentally and if you don't feel good, you're going to see that you don't perform up to your best abilities. He looked terrible against Derek Lewis. There's no other way to cut around it. There's no way to sugarcoat that performance. He was gun shy. He was worried about failing in that matchup, and that's why it sort of held him back. It's my big Ben Simmons point. Ben Simmons could be the same basketball player as Giannis Antetokounmpo, the best player in the league. It's just Giannis doesn't care if he looks stupid on a basketball court, so he's not afraid to fail every now and then, whereas Ben Simmons is too cool to fail. Francis had to go through that himself, and the fact that Francis was able to get over that, that's a huge hurdle to get over mentally. It's really hard to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, I'm not good enough and I need to get better. It's a hard thing to say, especially when you're like Francis Ngannou. You're a world champion caliber fighter. So the fact that he was able to go through that sort of metamorphosis and not only become a better fighter, a better person too, I think it does matter. And this is my big point, and it made Craig roll his eyes a lot with Cyril Gane on his way up. It was, I don't know how good he is until he faces adversity. And it was the truth. When you beat Dante Almaze, I don't really care that much.
It was like that for Jairzinho Rosenstrike too.
Exactly. You don't really know how good a fighter is until they get pushed in a really tough fight. And for Gane, he found that fight in Alexander Volkov, and now I'm a lot more confident in him.
Walker Scott hitting us up in the super chat saying thanks for the content. For everybody that's joined us from over on Instagram that are asking, boys, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the fights. You just got to join the Fight Companion. You got to hear it live. I've seen a lot of people. There's been a lot of messages on the decision in our last fight. But yeah, you got to hit us up on the shows. We do advertise them over there as well as on Twitter. You can always find us at Fight Night Picks. Look, it's right above me, at Fight Night Picks. It's right there.
A lot of people gave me a hard time in the DMs this week because of my pick on Francis. I'm not going to lie. I couldn't tell you the last time I had this many people just being like, oh, Matt, you always pick the most technical guy. I'm kind of surprised you picked
I did see, I saw that in the comments too.
Yeah.
But listen, I mean, sometimes you deviate from the mean too. I mean, not every fight's created equal. That's all I'll say.
I just don't know how you could look at Francis Ngannou and be like, that guy doesn't have a chance to win an MMA fight. He's built for this. He's so good. And he's just got such a unique combination because he is kind of a stiff striker, for being honest. He still is. He has that greenness to his game, but he's been able to refine it in a really unique way. And the way his striking looks now will be a very interesting thing to see how Cyril Gane approaches it.
Dylan R. saying, yeah, thanks, guys. Everybody enjoy first and foremost. You get a virtual fist pump, Dylan R. Thank you for tuning in. Matt, when I look at this fight, I mention it. I mean, major UFC 141 vibes.
Thank you,
Sean McMinn hitting us up in the super chat. Super chat going crazy here.
Sean McMinn always hanging out.
Sean McMinn's always hanging out, and I love the emoji gifs that he sends out there.
I'm a fan.
It's a punch up of the feeling. So thank you, Sean McMinn. But when I look at this fight, some of the notes that I had there going into earlier on in the week. 13-0 in Muay Thai with Cyril Gane. He was a 201-pound Académie Française de Muay Thai champion. He defended that belt. And I looked at his Muay Thai record. It wasn't like he was taking on some guy in the high school gym. He was taking on some real names in Muay Thai at the time. Comes into MMA. Obviously, I've talked about it at length where he ruins poor Adam Dykes' career over with TKO. But for a guy to come into the UFC at 3-0, Pete Rodriguez came in tonight at 4-0, and you saw what happened. Cyril Gane, though, was one of those prospects. Now he's the interim champ. Now he's challenging his former teammate. But here's the thing that I find crazy about this fight. all that training footage, whether that was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it was, MMA was illegal in France. And these guys came from a gym in France, and they're both champions. Like, how crazy is that?
Do they live like that Bon Jovi song? Wanted, dead or alive.
I mean, it's legal now.
But I know it is now. But like, if you train MMA in France, is it like, ooh, watch out for that guy? Like, he's hardcore. He's kind of edgy. Now, I would think that if I saw Cyril Gane, but it is so strange. Like, you would think MMA heavyweight fighters, ooh, they're so scary. But like, Francis and Cyril Gane are the most approachable people in the world.
And the craziest part about it is, too, I mean, you've got Francis Ngannou from Cameroon, speaks French very, very well. You've got Cyril Gane from France, speaks great French as well. Obviously, both these guys do. But the craziest thing for me is fan reaction, this and that. Moncton, New Brunswick, Canada, Fight Night, Anthony Smith, and Volkan Oezdemir live, boots on the ground. And the craziest part about it was Volkan Oezdemir's French is his first language out of Switzerland. They booed the hell out of him there. I thought he was going to get a pop. It was a very pro Anthony Smith crowd. But here we go at heavyweight, Matt. We got Cyril Gane taking on Francis Ngannou. I'll throw it back over to the numbers on the UFC's website. I mean, the reach out of both of these guys, crazy. 83 inches, 81 for Gane. Height, reach, very, very similar for both of these guys. And when we do look at it, Matt, I mean, finishers at the highest, caliber. And never been knocked out either of them.
And that's what would be like the crazy thing to see. Like, if I witnessed Cyril Gane or Francis Ngannou get knocked unconscious tonight, I don't know if I'll be able to contain myself. Like, that'll just be... It's always wild to see a heavyweight contender get knocked out for the first time. Like, when Jairzinho was on his run knocking out a lot of guys, and he felt like he was somewhat of an untouchable contender, and then Francis just walked across the cage and knocked him out, it felt like, oh, shoot, like, we've never seen him get knocked out in this way before. With Francis, it would feel very much a similar way. But this is the thing about Francis I've always thought. If he went to the body more with his boxing, I think he'd be the most devastating MMA fighter by far. And he already kind of is, but 4-ounce gloves with Francis's power, if he hit people in the ribs or even to the body, I think it would have such an effect that guys wouldn't get up. Now, I understand it leaves your own head open when you are hooking for those body shots, but I really do think that that's part of his game that is yet to be unlocked, but I think it would be huge if he ever could find it. Because could you imagine if Francis had that, like, Stipe left hook to the body? What are we talking about? Like, that would destroy everyone.
That really is one of those things. And I mean, the comments over there, who did Francis Ngannou walk out to? Was it Drizzy Drake? Is he live from the M or F and North Side? Does Dewey Cooper hate right-hand sleeves when he corners? He hates them. Them. I love Dewey Cooper. You know, if you could have an audio book read over by somebody, if Dewey Cooper could read, like, where is it right there? The Boxing List book, and just Dewey Cooper and his sultry tones, he's kind of sounds like like Rod Stewart, but not. He's got a real gravelly voice, Dewey Cooper.
He sounds like this guy, but not really.
Like, who is it? Does Kim Carnes sing Betty Davis Eyes? Whoever that is.
I don't think you're getting invited to the second comedy jam on Fight Pass, is all I'm gonna say, Craig.
Son of a gun. But, but when I do look at this fight, knee braces from Francis Ngannou.
He thinks he's gonna be wrestling.
Who is he? Judo Dan Kelly? What are we doing here? 2 knee braces is what Voodoo's saying. Someone was saying his knee was jacked. The only thing is, Voodoo, and it very well could be it, I have a hard time looking into some of those, injury speculations that are out there. Because, I mean, listen, Andrew Bonifaz says at every question mark kick, he's got a broken rib. And I think it's the funniest thing ever. And some people think it's serious and then they get mad about it. But
they're like, Dewey doesn't.
I think it's the funniest inside joke that we have going. Eric saying Dewey Cooper is suspect. I love him. I think he's the greatest.
Eric, I'm going to agree like 40% with your point. I'm not going to lie. There's some sus aspects to his training and to some of his fighters that I worry about.
I love watching him hold mitts because he's one of those guys. He lets fighters put it on when he's holding it.
And he's the type of guy to like loosen up his hand before your last punch in a combo, just so when you hit the mitt it goes flying.
And Kevin is saying, I'm too young to know Kim Carnes, but I know Kevin Kearns, so hey, Kevin. 10 pounds different in the weight. I found it interesting too. In a division where you can weigh anywhere from X to 265, Cyril Gane weighed the same for both fights. His last fight, 247. For this fight, 247.
Do you think he owns a scale in his kitchen, Craig? He's weighing all of his meals out properly?
Yeah, I think he probably does. I mean,
Okay, I asked the question on purpose.
always in great shape is Cyril Gane, and same can be said for his opponent here in Francis Ngannou. He's got Kamaru Usman in his corner.
I couldn't imagine if you said these guys aren't in great shape, and then you look at yourself or me.
This is Balkan season 2022.
It's like, yeah, I think Francis and Cyril might be okay athletes.
This is going to be the year. This is going to be the year. Amateur fight number 1? Kevin Swanson put that challenge out there. You got to have what? Was it 3 or 4?
Again, my challenge to anybody in the MMA media, Ariel Helwani included, because he thinks he's good at basketball, I will beat anybody, and it won't even be close. Anybody out there, Mike Heck, Ariel Helwani. Cyril Gane can dunk, so I might have a hard time just because physically he is much bigger than I am. But I like my chances against 80% of the MMA community.
I think Khabib would bring you to your knees.
I don't think he
basketball.
would. I think I'd take that charge and then I'd bang a 3 over top of him and he couldn't do anything.
News, they don't call charges in his game.
I'm 6 inches taller than he is. I'm not that concerned.
Well, we got a heck of a fight coming up. Cyril Gane at
He does play
10-0, taking on the man himself, Francis Ngannou. Now, you know this. When we go into our fights, we start the timer. We have the opportunity, if there's any moves, any timeouts, we can hit pause on that timer. It was an issue with some of the very old fight companions, but now we can hit play again. So soon as it gets going, we will get going. And you know that Gawani's saying, are you tall then? 7 feet 3 inches.
Yeah. I'm actually Nikola Jokic's height. You just can't tell because I'm sitting down.
Cameroon's own Francis Ngannou. The disrespect is the plus 125 underdog for your current champ, taking on your interim champ. It's always fun to say that. Voodoo saying Matt versus O'Malley on the court. Matt, you can wear the Fight Night Pick shoes, and he can wear his Jordans, and we can see who wins
I have much nicer
out.
basketball shoes. I would beat him. You have to remember though, he is a bantamweight MMA fighter, so he's like 5'9". Like, my back's messed up and I'm 6'1". I would destroy him.
He's 5'11".
He couldn't block my shot.
Kawani's
It's a make
saying,
or miss game.
knee braces mean wrestling. It'll be interesting to see knee braces because for Ngannou, even in his last fight, like he started to incorporate more kicks into his game since he's been in a couture. So I'm eager to see how that plays out.
And the streets say he knocked out Cyril Gane with a head kick once upon a time. So who knows? And again, there's no bad blood between these two guys. Like, Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman at least made you think in the media they hated each other, but behind closed doors they were cool. Like, these guys are fine. They're just like, they're pretty regular. I don't
Sticky
think there's
boy.
any beef.
No, he's not
No,
7'3".
that's a goof.
Jeez whiz. All right, we get set for our main
I'm so
event.
excited.
Incognito saying it's time. That's Buffer's thing. It's not mine, but I'll tell you what, I'm having a good time here getting set for
I'm nervous for this fight.
this main event. Herb Dean is our referee, and Cyril Gane takes the back foot to Francis Ngannou, who's got the center of the cage.
A lot of good movement from Cyril on the outside. And he's going to really have to make Francis guess on when his entries are. But he's going for a takedown attempt early.
Takedown attempt from Gane. A little bit of a level change here. Now he's just trying to be the wet blanket up against the cage, and Francis knew this was coming.
So we know what Cyril Gane's going for pretty quick. Looking to grapple, looking to take some of the steam out of Francis's engine.
Knee attempt here from Francis. Francis posting up, forearm.
Good sign for Ngannou so far, though. Good defense.
Francis looking to pressure forward once more. Cyril moving on the feet, side to side, back and forth, pumping the jab, switching the stance. And those are a lot of words from me, but that is what Cyril Gane did. Nice leg kick there from Gane. Looked like it was halfway checked there from Ngannou.
It was. Good job defensively from both guys, actually. Because good job for Gane of getting his head out of the way. But he's got to worry about backing up with his hips out and his head down.
Francis looking to try and get into one of these exchanges with the grappling. He's got Gane's back up against the fence. A little bit of a knee attempt there to the inside of the thigh from Ngannou. But Ngannou doing a really good job here. He's working for a single leg.
Positionally, he has improved quite a bit. But again, I don't feel like wrestling should be something that's offensively really part of his game just yet.
Not a chance. Cyril Gane gets the underhooks, digs them, switches position, goes for a knee.
Francis has done a much better job defensively, at least with the strikes in the clinch, than I thought he would.
Ooh, back elbow there from Cyril Gane.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for those.
And he gets out of the way of all of those shots from Ngannou.
Cyril can get wild with some of those clinch exchanges.
Nice jab there from Gane.
If he knocks him out with that elbow, oh my goodness.
You have to think, though, all of the wrestling exchanges, it favors the lighter guy here. Nice body shot from Ngannou.
Ooh.
I think you hurt him.
I think he may have with the body shot. Might have hurt him in the cup, though.
Good job there from
That happens,
Ngannou.
too.
He's really pushing fast.
And that's what he's going to need to do. Like, he's going to have to just land one of those fight-ender big hooks out of nowhere.
Gane did a good job of landing that jab, but it's Ngannou just cocked and ready to throw absolute power at Gane.
Yeah, like, Gane has to be perfect for a lot of this fight.
Yeah, and Ngannou is lunging on a lot of these power shots, and then he comes composed again. And you know, you saw it even at 220. He would just continue to go to the wall and continue to throw power shots and not take an opportunity to get reserved. And against a guy like Gane, as long as it's not a giant reset, good body kick from Gane really fooled Ngannou there. It's going to help him with his gas tank. He knows this.
No, I think that's a great point. Yeah, if he did incorporate more of like a Yoel Romero approach, I think it would be great.
Gane kind of pitter-patter, in and out, switching his movement.
This movement's tough on Gane, though. Like, he's moved about 20 times more than Francis has in the same length of fight.
And it is one of those ones that's kind of a hallmark of his game, but a good jab there from Gane, and he's finding a home every time for that jab.
Good job defensively, Francis, with those leg kicks. He's been good at checking the kicks, but no, you're right. Gane is better at the long range so far.
Gane backed up behind the black line. Ngannou continues to pressure forward with his movement, but he's kind of gotten away from throwing much. Totally whiffs on an overhand right.
He did.
And it was a weird one where he whiffed and he was back on that knee. Oblique kick from Francis Ngannou. Never thought I'd say that in my life.
Adding a wrinkle to his game.
Minute and a half left. We're in a tie clinch here. Ngannou looking to grab the waist. He's got underhooks. He's got his hands clasped.
I didn't think we'd be getting a grappling match out of these guys, but that's been a lot of the first round.
I didn't think I'd ever see Francis Ngannou try to wrestle a heavyweight, let alone Ciryl Gane.
I mean, hey.
Tonight has been an odd night, and another knee there for Francis, close to the cup region, but a minute and 5 seconds remaining or thereabouts here in this first round. It's been a chess match so far.
It has been. A lot of close cup checks on both ends.
But it's been better than Ngannou-Lewis. We can say that, right?
That's true. If it was worse, a lot of people would be wanting refunds.
Gane working, pressuring here up against cage. 50 seconds left.
Ngannou does have some tight shorts on. But
they're probably not even that tight.
Well, I think they're cutting blood flow off to his legs.
40 seconds remaining, and Ngannou looking to gain position here, but Gane doing a really good job pressuring that lead shoulder in and holding his opponent up against the cage, but no big actions from either guy. Nice knee there from Gane, and Ngannou looking for a trip takedown.
Who would have thought Francis Ngannou and Ciryl Gane would show off a technical defensive clinch battle? You learn something new every day.
Ciryl Gane here with 20 seconds left. Nice body kick there from Gane.
And that's what Ciryl needs. He needs a lot more of those long-range attacks.
13 seconds remain in our first round. It's been a close one so far. 10 seconds left.
Yeah, hard one to score. Not a lot scoring for either guy. I would say maybe Gane, but
5 seconds left. And we get the end of the round. So let us know in the comments section how you scored that round. Personally, yeah, I've got a 10-9 for Ciryl Gane because for Ngannou, early in the first 15 seconds, I thought, boom. Francis doing a great job. He's going to be able to get the win here. But then as the round went on, yeah, it was a little bit more Ciryl Gane. And every attempt at a clinch or a takedown didn't favor Francis, even though he went for a majority of them.
Well, neither guy did. That was the thing. Like, there was a lot of, we're kind of both really strong in the clinch and nothing's going to happen. With Francis, he does seem a little stiff on the feet. I don't know if he does have a knee problem, but that would make sense. He does seem to be lunging forward a lot with his strikes. But again, part of that could just be he doesn't want to walk into a big shot from Ciryl Gane. But it does seem, though, like Gane has the speed advantage, where Francis, of course, is the power advantage.
Elaine saying Ciryl is a grappler. We've got a 10-9 Gane, round one Ciryl.
I would say Ciryl.
Hard to score, but I'd say Gane just about. Gane did some work. Francis looks tired.
He does.
He actually does look tired. I don't normally play into that, but when you got your mouth open like that, you sat on the stool, you had a little bit of time.
Sitting on the stool doesn't.
We'll see how he comes out. But you know his power carries. That's the other thing. You saw that even in the first fight against old Iron Jaw Stipe Miocic for the longest time. He's body breathing, though. We get set for our second round between these two big heavyweights. Francis looking to push the action to start the round again. Ciryl able to just circle out of it, though.
If I was Francis, I would consider almost having like a Tyron Woodley game plan where like you bring your opponent into your power instead of trying to chase them down. Not a great idea because one guy just got knocked out by Jake Paul and the other guy's fighting for a heavyweight title, but you get the idea.
Both 30 seconds in, and it's just some feints here of the left hand from Francis Ngannou. Another oblique kick attempt from Francis.
You're having a hard time hitting the target.
Another body kick there for Ciryl Gane.
Fancy.
And Cyril Gane, I mean, out here with that movement in and out, and it really does frustrate a lot of the guys that he fights because then you're drawing him in with your movement, and when you miss, it's usually big.
I feel like the best way to describe Cyril Gane in the heavyweight division is he fights like an active middleweight. Because that's what he does. Like, he just doesn't fight like a fighter from this division at all. He's light on his feet. He switches stances, throws a very kick-heavy game, but is very well-rounded. Like, he just isn't something you often see at this weight class.
Gane doing a great job here, landing in and out. He did eat a shot for his trouble there.
I did. Those uppercuts will take you off your feet.
Gane with his hands down, and that was the thing that scared me in breaking down this fight, because once he does gain his confidence in the distance, he will tend to drop his hands a little bit more. But he's one of those guys that it hasn't cost him in 11 fights as an MMA fighter. It didn't cost him his 13 in Muay Thai. And he's done a great job with the leg kicks. As Francis Ngannou switched his stance. He was working out of southpaw there, now back in orthodox.
Yeah, Francis is having a really hard time closing the distance right now.
Siddle doing a great job. Hand placement, another body kick. Lands a good jab. Lands a nice right hand.
But this is my weird thing with Cyril Gane. His extension was almost too much on the right hand. Like, up close, he does struggle with his accuracy.
Gane continues to move side to side.
And it is so weird, because on the outside, he has such great dynamic movement. He has great accuracy from the outside, but when he does crowd his own space, it does become an issue for him. Now, he's smart enough to where he will get out of that range and kind of reset, but it is one kind of weakness out of Cyril Gane's game.
Francis whiffs another overhand right, closes distance, and clinches up with Gane. He's got Gane pressed up against the cage in the red corner here. Looking like he's got one leg down to avoid some of those knees from the clinch.
He just ankle picks him Yoel style.
I anticipate Gane's going to be able to turn out of this one, get it back to the center, and he does. Halfway through our second round, Francis starting to open up, but again,
close.
Not able to find a home for that right hand yet.
But this is my thing with Francis and why I picked him. Even if it looks bad, he only needs one.
And it hasn't looked bad so far.
No, like, it's still, he hasn't eaten a lot of damage either, which is the good thing. Like, yes, Gane's getting more numbers up on him, and he's playing more of a pitter-patter game, but it's not like he's landed a single huge strike in this fight yet.
2 minutes remaining here in our second round, and it's just Gane in and out, landing at will where he has in a lot of his other fights. It's just really reminiscent of that. And for Francis, not a lot of those big actions that we know him for.
Yeah, he seems to be waiting on Gane to sort of initiate in some of these exchanges, but Gane's more than happy to just sort of teep his way to a victory. Came close with that left, but...
Gane working here from southpaw. He will switch it up for sure. And now it's Ngannou switching stance over to southpaw for the leg kick. Whiffs on that one.
But yeah, Ngannou's having a really hard time closing the distance right now.
Minute 27 remaining.
Check that leg kick.
Your significant strike numbers, or your strike numbers rather, they're going to favor Gane so far in this second round. But if you get a big action of Francis Ngannou, he could definitely change the tide very quickly when you consider his power and the fact that damage scores more.
It does. It's a lot of damage.
Closing in on a minute remaining here in our second round between these two heavyweights. Not a lot of action in this one.
No, there isn't. Not at all. But this is what Gane has to do if he's going to win. Like, I always go back to when Sugar Ray Leonard talked about Tommy Hearns versus Marvin Hagler, and he was like, yeah, I couldn't fight Marvin Hagler like Tommy Hearns did. You know why? Tommy Hearns got knocked out. It was a great fight, but he got knocked out, and I beat him because I'm smart. And that's how you have to fight sort of that marching forward, dynamic sort of fighter like that. You have to outthink them and fight on the outside.
35 seconds remaining here in the second round. Herb Dean got really close to the action right there.
That left hook to the... That was a nice sort of left uppercut by Francis. It definitely made Gane think.
24 seconds remaining in our second round. Nice leg kick, pitter-patter from Cyril Gane.
But neither guy really been able to sort of open up with their game at all. Like, again, Gane's up 2-0. You're not getting an argument from me, but I wouldn't even say he's been able to land a big strike yet. That was a good defensive job by Francis to block that body kick.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job. Eats a little leg kick right there. Kiss from a rose on the grave was that leg kick, Matt. So far through 2 rounds, I want to hear from everybody because Gawani's saying echoes of Francis versus the Beast. Raise your hands, please, Mr. Gane, Pablo says. Let's get a look at those numbers, Matt. Total numbers 37-21, edging for Cyril Gane. No knockdowns yet. Are you surprised? Are you surprised?
A little bit, yeah. I thought this fight would be over by now. I was wrong.
Tyson special uppercut.
What if Francis did come out with like the perfect peekaboo style? Ooh. everybody be in trouble.
I'd love it if this fight in this third round would turn out like the third round between Tafa and Felipe. And for Carlos Felipe, happy trails. We won't see you for a while.
You must not want Cyril Gane to win then.
It would
That's
just
the
be...
one way Francis comes back into this fight, if they go forehead to forehead, just exchange hooks.
2022 in January is the year of USADA suspensions, and there have been plenty of them.
Yeah, don't be juicing, guys.
Not good. 2 rounds in the book. Boo's giving me Black Beast vibes. I can't hear them, the Mummy Cats, but I'm excited for the music, so hit us up. All right, here we go. End of that third round. VT saying Francis totally needs a windmill. He's tentatively down 2 rounds. It only takes 3 to win a title fight or a finish.
But what happened when Victor Ortiz fought Deontay Wilder, Craig? Both times.
No, Victor was old.
But no, he won every single round until he got knocked out.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, when you fight big power punchers, this is normally how the fights go. You either look really great and you pitch a shutout, but he goes 3 for 3 and hits 3 home runs.
And if I'm not mistaken, he just fought not that long ago. Big
didn't
uppercut
won.
there from Francis.
That might have been the first significant strike he's really landed.
Gane continuing to just move side to side, pop the jab out, pop the leg kick feint out, draw out the movement of Francis, who just missed on a left hook. And he really extended himself on that one, too.
He did, but he's not moving his feet. He's extending his hands a lot, but his feet have to follow.
It really is. It's one of those ones where you almost look at it like for a baseball player. You see a lot of players, they really get it. Ooh.
Big body shot and a dump.
Gane goes for a kick, and Ngannou grabs it and throws him down. He's working from side control with 4 minutes remaining.
So you think Francis Ngannou might be strong, Craig?
Francis Ngannou with the takedown attempt. That must have confused Cyril Gane.
That was weird. I think we can all admit to that, but it was neat.
Francis Ngannou, first fighter to put Cyril Gane on his back in 8 UFC fights.
Not the guy I thought he'd be doing it, but hey.
Now, I anticipate...
He's like Damian Maia.
He's going for a squeeze.
No, he's just positionally aware.
He's got his hands locked.
Francis is going to get him in like a crucifix and just elbow away.
I anticipated Brock Lesnar hammer fists here, but...
I didn't expect a positionally aware top game out of Francis Ngannou.
Francis Ngannou might go for a Kimura here. Who knows?
Francis takes his back like Maia, gets him up against the cage.
I went for...
He's in full mount. This is a scary
Looks like a half guard for...
Come on, Francis, yeah, just try to damage him.
Gane giving his back. This is a bad spot. You saw Stipe kind of falter in a
but
position like this.
Francis doesn't really have control of him right now, so it did work for Gane.
Gane starting to get back up. Francis. Look at this. Gane now looking to try and dig for the takedown. This is high-level action at heavyweight between a couple of guys with striking pedigrees.
Very surprising stuff, but nice to see out of Francis. He's getting better at grappling.
Gane gets back up to his feet.
Wild stuff.
Can you believe it? They couldn't have even written this for a movie.
They couldn't have. Because the fight probably would have been better up until this point, but...
Marcelo saying Cyril took himself down. You're not giving credit where it's due, Marcelo. Come on.
Francis, big throws.
Francis,
big
wizard.
Wow. Francis's grappling really has improved, though, to his credit.
Cyril back up to his feet. He's working his own takedown. Doing the old Narcoon de Freeze short grab there.
Gotta get up pretty early in the morning to take down old Francis Ngannou nowadays.
2 minutes and 5 seconds remaining in this round. Pummeling underhooks the boys.
Oh my goodness.
Minute 55 remaining. Cyril Gane here with position.
They're both having like flashbacks to mat rooms in France right now. Oh my goodness. The storylines write themselves.
ADCC Francis is born, Eric is saying. I'd love to see a fight. You know what? Francis Ngannou, Rodolfo Vieira. Give it to me.
Rodolfo would not make it out of the cage.
Minute 35 remaining here in our third round. You got Francis looking for a bit of a clinch. Oh, spinning elbow there from Cyril Gane.
Don't know if it landed.
And he's back up. Francis Ngannou in the wrestling room. Oh, and he misses on a big action. Gane totally out of the way.
Neither guy's had any success in the striking, though.
Francis is starting to feel it. Francis is starting to have a little bit more confidence.
Cyril's starting to slow down on the feet. He's not moving as well. He still has good footwork, but he's not bouncing around as much.
Minute remaining here, or so there is in this round. Spinning back kick there from Cyril Gane does not land.
Francis starting to gain confidence.
Francis definitely was able to gain confidence in those grappling exchanges. UFC giving us significant strike numbers for the fun of it.
Underwhelming, to say the least.
That much is true. Leg kick attempt here from Francis out of southpaw. Every time he's gone southpaw, it's for a leg kick.
It has been.
Ooh, high kick from
close.
Gane. And that was fast. Uppercut there from Francis Ngannou going for the takedown.
That was nice, though, because he did time
More
the duck.
sweep from Gane. He's got it. He's got the straight arm lock.
No, he doesn't, Craig. You need to get your legs involved.
And now you've got Ngannou in half guard with about 20 seconds left.
You can't get a straight arm lock if a guy's across you.
Ngannou on top. 15 seconds left. Beat a previous best of 1 takedown attempt.
Surprising stuff.
So Francis Ngannou, the comeback king of the third round.
So he's a wrestler now.
Wrestling his way to a third round.
He won it, though.
Yeah.
0 for 2 on the feet. 1-0 on the mat. Francis Ngannou are switching it up.
So Francis Ngannou takes the momentum in the third round and is able to out-wrestle Gane. 29-28 Gane.
When you think you've seen everything, Francis Ngannou ends up out-grappling Gane for a whole round.
What an insane start to this fight.
It hasn't made any sense. Neither guy can hit each other on the feet. But Cyril's, kind of piecing them up with the kicks, but Francis...
A reminder for this one, 54% of the fans at Fight Night picks with Francis Ngannou to win. It's 317 total votes to 268 for Gane.
You're acting Cyril Gane's Damian Maia off his back, Craig. He's not getting straight arm locks up against the cage.
A saying that's 2-1. I scared Voodoo Wiz. But yeah, I mean, in this one, Francis Ngannou, I'm going to come into... If you see Francis Ngannou walking down the street in shorts and knee pads...
Don't feign a takedown on him, because he's going to ankle pick you.
Run the other way, because he has good cardio and he'll take you down.
Wow. Never thought I'd see this side of him.
We get set for a 4th round for the title between these two guys. It has been a chess match, to say the least.
It got interesting. So Gane has to do something big on the feet, though, now, because all the momentum is with Francis and his grappling, I guess.
Yeah, it really is tough. I mean, Gane throwing a couple leg kicks out there that landed early.
But still, even Gane hasn't landed anything damaging on the feet. He has to hurt Francis at some point.
To go back to the comment from earlier, to me, I mean, it's round by round. If he's able to pitter-patter to another one, you're going to be able to win the round. I agree with you. To turn the tide, definitely has to do something
I just mean,
big.
You're a kickboxer. I can't watch you strike for 25 minutes and you not land a damaging shot. It just, for me, how I saw Gane fighting this is he'd be able to counter off of the strikes of Ngannou a lot better, but Gane just disengages completely and then he'll try to reset from that.
Yeah, and a nice body shot attempt there from Francis Ngannou about a minute into our 4th round. The over-under was what, 2.5 rounds for this fight?
I think it was. Good job from Cyril. He needs more of that, though. He's got to set that up with something. Because the kicks have been good when he just throws out the head kick, but if he set the head kick up with a jab straight and then threw the head kick, that's when you land that 2nd and 3rd strike.
Nice kick to the knee there from Gane. You have to wonder if those knee braces really help soften, cushion the blow. Spinning body kick attempt there from Gane.
It's an odd look.
Herb Dean way too close to the action again. He's got to shimmy out of the way. Minute and a half into our 4th round. Another pitter-patter to the leg there from Gane. Francis Ngannou continues to walk him forward. Throwing a big-time left hand there was Ngannou.
Yeah, there are consequences for Gane when he does get into range. But again, he hasn't really been able to get much momentum on the feet.
Nice kick to the body there from Gane. Now Ngannou starting to try and pick it up. Lands a body kick of his own. Eats a little bit of left hand. Now Ngannou going back for that grappling. Now he is left shoulder deep in a takedown here, but you do have an underhook from Gane. You have an underhand, really.
I think Gane's going to be able to defend this, unless he just gets muscled down. But
Ngannou taking him down again.
You have no idea how happy I am that you brought up Dante Mays a lot, and that Francis Ngannou is so much better at grappling.
Didn't bring him up a lot. Brought up the submission, that was all.
Said I like that he fought Dontel Mace and he does some similar things to Francis.
If 2022 is going to be the year of cocky Matt,
Craig, it isn't. I'm making a joke. You just got to take it easy.
2 minutes and 15 seconds remaining here in the 4th round.
It's wild to see this version of Francis have no success in the feet and actually look like a good grappler.
The evolution
Like, sometimes you make a pick on a fight, but you still feel like you got it wrong. Like, this fight hasn't gone at all like I thought it was going to. Cyril hasn't been able to land a single combination on the feet, which is kind of what he's known for. And Francis has got the wrestling shoes on now.
We will rebuild him. Minute and 50 remaining in this round, and Ngannou's got the back. But again, neither guy really doing much in this round.
I'm surprised that Cyril's having as hard of a time as he is defensively, though. I really thought he was the superior grappler in this matchup.
Fernand Lopez. Going for a Kimura here is Cyril Gane. Not going to be able to get it. Finds himself on his back again.
Francis has got sort of a modified mount right now. He does have his hips past the knee. Yeah, he's in mount.
Gane looking like he might be able to get out of this position. Now we're in half guard.
But this is weighing on Gane right now. Like, Francis Ngannou's whole body weight is on top of Cyril Gane, weighing him down. And I think that's why we're starting to see a little bit of the limited movement on the outside from Gane. He's still moving well, don't get me wrong, because even Gane slowed down is faster than most other heavyweights.
This is Ngannou's move. He went for it earlier in the last round. He kind of clasped his hands and puts all his shoulder pressure on Gane's face. It's not a Von Flue. It's just a body weight type of submission.
It's very similar to what Stipe did to him, which is kind of wild. Because Stipe didn't get a lot of ground and pound off on Francis. It was a lot of like, oh, you're going to feel my body weight and feel my physicality.
Oh, that's an illegal knee.
That's to the body, Craig. I think the thigh might have hit him to the head, but I think that was to the body.
Gane lets it go on.
Well, Cyril didn't even have a problem with it.
30 seconds of reign. And this is a weird one because your first two rounds, Gane was able to win it out with the striking. And round 3 and round 4, Ngannou was able to win with his wrestling.
Yeah. Landed a couple nice shots there on the ground.
Good job here from the champion in these last two. And he's definitely taken over with the momentum in the last 2 rounds.
Francis
10 seconds
Gravely's
left.
Pretty funny.
Francis Gravely. Cyril hasn't done the Simon Oliveira, though. He hasn't gone for those defensive submissions every time.
Just that was a really nice ankle control by Francis Ngannou. Like, that genuinely shows the evolution in his grappling game, because you're not just thinking about the present grappling situation, you're taking into account what move is going to happen next. Like, that's stuff that takes years to train.
So 2-2 is what Pablo is saying. I think we can all agree it's probably 2-2.
I would agree with that.
And, yeah, I mean, you have one submission attempt for Gane. It has been every single takedown for Francis Ngannou. And as the fight's gone on, they've gotten even easier, which for a guy whose cardio is always a question, now it's not. At 35, you can become a better wrestler and better with your cardio.
Just work really hard, guys. It can happen for you, too. Like, Francis went from being an awful grappler, like, you know how there's like war in baseball? Like a 10 war is historic. Negative war means you're below replacement.
10's not historic.
A 10 war?
In a season.
That's what I mean. Like 10 for a season is historic. If you're negative, it's not very good. Francis went from having like a negative war for his wrestling, and now he's like a 7 wrestling war.
All right, we're getting set for our 5th and final round. It's tied. We're going to get a winner in this round.
We are. Again, this is going to come down to the 5th round. Very similar to what I guess I thought the last one was, even though the scores were kind of all over the place, but interesting fight.
All right, Gane definitely has to bring it with the striking. And Ngannou's got to work the takedowns, but he also has power. And Ngannou minus 295 favorite. I am really eager to get a sense of what they're saying here.
Momentum's definitely on his side after those takedown attempts.
Ooh, big right hand for Cyril Gane.
But I really do think it all comes down to this 5th round. Like you said, round 1 and 2 pretty easy for Gane, but round 3 and 4 were definitely controlled by Francis and his wrestling.
100%. And Ngannou looking to kind of fake to the body a little bit and maybe make Gane start to worry with the level changes on the takedown attempts. Nice left hand lands for Gane.
Yeah, that was a good strike. But again, he needs more. He can't just get one and sort of reset.
Yeah, Francis's timing and the striking looks like it's totally off here right now.
But again, Cyril's not really making him pay for it. Like, he's landing some pitter-patter shots on the outside, but I really did expect him to land clean more. Especially after that elbow off the clinch early on in the fight. I really thought that was setting him up well.
Gane going for a single leg, and he gets it.
Ah, that was a smart play by Cyril Gane. You won't end up on your back if you have him on his.
Gane working from on top. He's in half guard. Let's see what happens here. There's a lot of time to work for your fighter from France.
That was nice by Cyril Gane. Really good job.
Gane looking to keep his opponent down. I think Ngannou's going to be able to get out.
At least get out of this half guard. Maybe try to re-get his full guard. But again, did not expect a grappling heavy matchup in this.
So Cyril Gane trying to pressure and put all his weight into a takedown. What Francis Ngannou does in this instance is throw a punch and try
Well, he
and
got
throw
his
him
full
off
guard
of it.
back, though, which is
He did.
good.
Gane's still on top here.
Francis Ngannou just swept Cyril Gane.
Well, goodness me. So Francis Ngannou gets a sweep. Now he ends up in half guard.
Francis is like a genuinely good grappler now. What
This
is that? That was awesome. Cyril's like, what? We don't teach this.
We didn't do this back those years ago.
Ferdinand Lopez is so confused. Oh my goodness.
Heel hook attempt here
If
from
he wins via heel hook, I'm gonna
heel hook attempt.
Okay.
Heel hook attempt.
What
from
a way
Cyril
to
Gane.
end this fight if he does.
He's got that tight.
I think Francis doesn't seem all that concerned, but he might just not know the position overly well. No, he
Oh,
doesn't.
now he's gonna get out of it. Oh, Gane's gonna pull for it. Ooh, does he have it locked up?
I think Francis has his knee past where he needs to, but it's not a good spot. Yeah, he's got his knee through.
Fernand Lopez is feeling it. He's clapping. Now, this could be a really bad spot for Cyril Gane. We've seen it with guys going for leg locks.
Well,
you leave yourself in a bad spot defensively to get hit or taken down once more.
Exactly. And that's the difference between the really natural grapplers. Like Pedro Munoz gets into that position a lot, but if he doesn't have the leg lock, he uses it exactly to scramble in to sort of think, okay, how can I use this position to then get in top? Whereas Cyril Gane just thought, okay, how do I finish this for the sake of finishing?
Gane's trying to get out of this position. Looks like Ngannou's trying to get in a mount.
Really good wrist control by Francis Ngannou, though. And I didn't give Francis the credit I think he deserved with his grappling
I don't
improvements.
think anybody
in his
knew
last one.
we would see this.
Well,
though.
no, but I didn't think he made big grappling improvements in his last fight. I just thought he knew how to use his strength a lot better. But this fight completely disproves that because technically he has made some very nice adjustments.
Yeah, Ngannou's doing, again, just putting all his weight into that and just trying to kind of zone him out, basically.
He's got that one leg under. He's got the one arm kind of caught, too. Like, if Francis went for ground and pound, he might be able to get some.
Looks like he's going to try and go for... You can't even call it a head and arm choke. But you got to respect the improvements. Man, this is crazy.
Where were you the day that Francis and Cyril Gane decided to grapple?
Is he going to go for a guillotine?
Cyril's just got to try to get back up to his feet and make something happen, though. Like, this has been another Francis round.
Easier said than done, I think, with a man that big on top.
Oh, sure it is, but like we saw Cyril as the better grappler coming into this fight. I just expected more fight off of his back.
And Eric brings up a point. The only trouble I have with it, Eric, saying France hasn't been able to do anything with the takedowns. He hasn't really, but just the top control time. That's... And it doesn't score a lot, and it shouldn't, but when that's the only thing that's going on in the round, you score that along with the takedown.
Well, that was my big problem with Cyril. Like, what did Cyril really do of significance on the feet? Like, he was able to get better numbers up, but it's not like he landed a big damaging shot by any means.
Gane got the head, but he doesn't really have a submission.
Francis is doing a good job getting past his full guard, though, getting into that half guard position. I would like to see more ground and pound out of Francis, though.
Ngannou just kind of holding the position up here. 20 seconds left. If the fight ended now...
How mad's Dana White right now?
Yeah, he's mad. This is,
He thought Cyril Gane was going to come in here, get that title back, be a company man.
So you've got, you've got probably another 48-47 on your hands.
Wow. What a fight that was. That was interesting.
Yeah, so that's the end of that one.
Francis. No wonder he had the knee wraps on. He was going to wrestle. It was right in front of us the whole time.
Insane.
Francis Ngannou. What if he opens up like the Francis Ngannou Wrestling Academy now? Could you imagine? He's like Daniel Cormier. He teaches a whole roster of kids. Oh. Francis took his striking from like a 15 out of 10 and was like, what if I reallocated all of my skill points into grappling? Good for Francis. Not a one-trick pony. A cerebral pony at that.
I mean, like, is Tyson Fury going to fight this grappler?
I think he will. Here's the thing. We haven't talked about this at all, but my whole thought process was, and I would like to get your reaction to this, I thought if Francis lost, he's definitely fighting in the UFC again. I think if he wins, he's going to have weird circus fights for the next 2 years.
What an odd fight we just witnessed.
I'm fired up. Good for Francis.
What the heck just
I only had
happened to
money
me?
on Francis on this card too, so hopefully he wins the decision. Didn't think he was going to do it via wrestling.
I don't think Cyril Gane thought that either.
How confused is Cyril Gane just gonna be sitting back there like, what the heck just happened?
He's probably gonna take a month, read some books.
He got swept by Francis Ngannou though off his back. That's
yeah, that
tough.
was yeah. Maybe Cyril comes back, gains another 10 pounds, and gives it a go again.
Yeah. Or he does like the Stipe and he's like, maybe 10 pounds lighter is the key.
That was the weirdest thing I've seen.
And I agree with you. I don't think Francis can box with any of the top boxers in the world at all. He can't get in there with Joseph Parker. He can't get in there with Tyson Fury. With Derek Chisora would blow the doors off him. But he is a much bigger name than all of those other guys not named Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, or Tyson Fury. So if you put him in there with one of those guys, yes, it's a guaranteed loss for Francis.
Whoa. Dana White doesn't have the belt to give out here. It looks like it's Mick Maynard.
That's fine. Dana White. He did that with Stipe once, too.
That's weird.
Okay, he's done it a few times. It's not a good sign, but... What's he gonna do, though? Like, don't tick off your big star and then treat him very poorly and put him on ice and give an interim champ.
Yeah, Francis Ngannou gets the win, so I went 0-for on the main card after going 4-2 on the undercard. Matt gets the win again, but still, the point of it is, Francis Ngannou, a wrestler, man, wow, what a big-time job. I mean, yeah, the 49-46s are a little bit of a surprise for sure, but hey, I mean, that sets it up. So I would think, moving forward, I mean, this division's in a weird spot. Like, Derek Lewis just beat Chris Daukaus, a prospect, I guess we could say. You've got Stipe kind of lurking in the weeds.
And
maybe they make the trilogy.
We've never really talked about that. Like, what is Stipe doing? Do you think he is, like, next fight is for the title? Do you think he is going to need kind of one more to get back on the horse? Like, where do you think he fits into all this? Because heavyweight right now does seem to be fairly active, which is a good problem to have. Like you said, Derek Lewis just fought in a main event. He has another fight coming up soon. It's a good time to be a heavyweight. I don't really know where Stipe fits into all this, even though I can admit he might be the biggest name in the division.
And that's it. Like, I have a hard time trying to look at it that way. Corey McGregor, today was my day. Thanks again for the commentary,
Good
guys.
for you, Corey.
I'm filling it out on the old Instagrams as far as the result for this one. So 54% of you getting it right on Francis Ngannou getting the win in this one. But yeah, I mean, a little bit surprising to see a guy putting his wrestling shoes on, getting a big-time win like that.
Like, from a -5 in the wrestling category to what looked like an 8 out of 10. Like, that was truly an impressive evolution for Francis.
Big-time win there for the man himself, Francis Ngannou. So, yeah, I really want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Fight Night Picks Companion. We're going to have some different content coming out next week. If you tuned in for this, you're going to like that kind of stuff. We got Parry Encounter. It's your questions. It's your comments. And we're going to try and make some videos out of those as we have in the past. Episodes of Parry Encounter, they're great. They're a lot of fun. And Keeping Score as well, which is a new series that we've debuted here. We also have episodes out there on Instagram. They used to be Instagram exclusives, but now we're going to start putting them out here on YouTube as well.
Hurt his ACL.
And Early Stoppage as well, if you check that one out. So, hey, I'm looking forward to it. Francis Ngannou with a big-time win. And Bilbo Bear is really being very nice with that, as well as Cool Banana Boy. So, Matt, thoughts?
Have a great night, everybody. It was a great time interacting with you guys on Question Mark Kicks and, of course, in the Fight Companion. Hopefully you guys had as much fun as we did. And fights are back. We had that little hiatus with the holidays and whatnot. I know no fights next weekend, of course. But after that, you brought up some of the cards in the horizon. Like
Hermanson, Strickland.
Exactly.
Then you got the rematch between Whitaker and Adesanya.
The battle of the half ILs, Fizzy versus Dos Santos. It's a great time to be an MMA fan. And we're going to be covering all these great fights in the future. So, yeah, if you want to have some fun, stay tuned. Check out Fight Night Picks. And let's get into it and have a great 2022.
Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks. And as we always say,
let's get into it.